break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. I'm taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't here to make.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Opinions of the Uninformed with me, Firefly Zero, Jamie Morris, and TJ. How you doing,
Hello.
TJ? The proper TJ over on Twitch.
Not too bad, buddy. Yourself?
I'm good. It's I've usual stuff. Been at work, been sorting out this, that, and the other. Got an email about work tonight on a Saturday.
On a Saturday, lovely. No, I can't
Still
because I don't get those, thankfully.
You're telling me you don't get emails going, I need to do some work. Not today, but next week.
Well, I might, but I don't read them because I have a works email and it gets shut down over the weekend. I'm like, Friday when I finish work, it's like, oh, look, notifications off. And I don't turn it back on until, like, if something desperately comes in, I might get a phone call, but it's very rare. We don't really do massive call out stuff, to be honest. Once it's gone like 5 p.m, it's pretty much everything else can wait till the next day or wait till Monday.
I'm actually starting to believe that I should get a second phone that is a personal phone and just leave this thing. So when Friday comes on, just go, bye.
You should get a dual SIM phone so you can have two SIM cards in one phone. So you don't have to carry two phones. Because if you carry two phones, everyone thinks you're having an affair or something, you know?
Yeah. Honestly, it annoys me carrying this thing. So to have another fucking phone would just wind me. I don't know how people do it because I'd just get annoyed. My mate's got two phones and then he's got like a handheld PDA as well. I'm like,
wow.
Fuck that,
he's got a handheld PDA. Is he 1987?
Yeah, it really is. He does computer stuff apparently, and he needs it for computery things. I don't know.
He's got a Rolodex on his desk, and
he's got a Rolodex. That's it. I need to find X. I remember seeing those as a kid and just fucking thinking it was amazing that you could press X on here and you go, look, I've got nothing in X because no one's got name beginning with X.
Oh, you didn't have a friend called Zonda.
Xavier. Professor.
Xavier.
Right, so I mean, like, obviously the week's just gone by. We're here on a Saturday, as we normally do this on our Saturday nights. It is very late in the evening, but screw it. We're night owls. We stay up all night.
While young'uns are out down the pub and out in the clubs, we're here working hard, chatting.
I got a slapped wrist for drinking too much, so I'm on cola tonight. Cola. Yeah. This is sponsored by. I can't say the proper cola. No
additives in this Coca-Cola.
Exactly. So there'll be no Ridley squat. That's how I'm going to blame that I said that wrong. And that's the story I'm keeping to. That's it. Right, as we're talking about Ridley Scott, which is of course entertainment, we are deciding to do a little bit of entertainment news like we did last time.
Actually, can I piggyback and go on a little thing before you get into it? Technically, it's still entertainment news, but
I'm here. I'm listening.
But Ridley Scott.
Yeah, really
we're getting really good at this because this is like a segue. So we all know I am a massive DVD fan, and obviously
he's terrible at the game. I've watched him play.
Yeah.
I joke.
Shut up. I mean, I'm not. I didn't say no there. I just said shut up. So like Nicolas Cage recently got released, as we all know. I had a big thing about it. I love it as coming in, but also
the jizz stains are still all over the place.
There is there is another DLC coming, and it's very well positioned and placed because it's the reason they've done this is to try and claw back some of the people that they're going to lose when Texas Chainsaw Massacre gets released. But anyway, there's another DLC being released at the end of this month. It's a licensed DLC this time,
and even I'm excited about it. I'm not going to lie.
They launched the teaser this week, and it just so happens that Alien probably the biggest licensed DVD has ever had to this point, and I'll get onto that in a second, is coming out.
One of the big horror licenses, as in a general, I would say.
The PTB launches on Tuesday. I'll be streaming PTB, so if you're around Twitch, twitch.tv, the proper TJ, come and see me play the PTB, and then it gets released officially, I believe it's the 29th, so the end of the month. But yeah, like for me, so Dead by Daylight It's the Museum of Horrors, as Matthew Cote, who's one of the game's creators, calls it. Like, they've got Michael Myers, they've got Freddy Krueger, they've got oh my god, I can't even fucking think of who they've got now. They've got Pinhead, they've got Sadako Onryo, whatever you want to call her. You know, they have got an absolute laundry list of your big licenses.
They did have Stranger Things.
They did have Stranger Things, but Netflix kind of took the license away. Netflix trying to do their own thing, whatever. You can still play if you've already bought the Stranger Things stuff. You still get Demogorgon, you still get Nancy, you still get Steve. But yeah, Aliens coming in, I think is like I said a couple of weeks ago that Nicolas Cage coming into DBD is like such a momentum shifting for the game, and it's such a like it's a massive thing for the game because it takes the game into another direction.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. I mean,
I think,
but their killer before this, their killer before this went a bit sci-fi. Though.
It was their killer before it was the Singularity, which is it was an AI that kind of got its own consciousness and decided that it was going to murder people and create its own.
It's a hint of the future, kids. It's a hint.
It's like, if you've seen, I'll tell you, if you've seen Virus, the Jamie Lee Curtis film, like,
oh yes,
I think they've taken the creature from what it looks like in Virus. It's very much like, but anyway,
that isn't it?
But not as old as Alien. But no, I think for them to be able to get now, I said to Jay on Friday yesterday we were talking about, and I see Alien as like one of the, like it's where you've got Halloween and like Nightmare on Elm Street. So they are massive, but they're kind of niche massive, right?
Yes.
In a sense, it's a horror. It's a horror IP that doesn't appeal to everyone, but who it does appeal to, it's huge to, and they absolutely love it. I feel that Alien transcends its genre.
I'd probably see that.
It covers obviously multiple genre. Alien is horror. Aliens is obviously more action based, but just in the pantheon of entertainment, like movies and stuff, like it transcends above so much. In 1979, it got released, and to this day, name me a better horror film, a sci-fi horror film, than Alien. I guarantee you it's going to be in everyone's top 5. Like, you ain't going to name more than 5 better than it. You might name 1, maybe. But it's going to be in everyone's top 5, guaranteed. Absolutely.
Are you telling me that Jason X isn't the best sci-fi horror?
Where's fucking Alt F4? I'm Alt F4 in this bitch. I can't believe you even said that to me. But like Jason Voorhees, Friday the 13th, it doesn't hold a candle to Alien in the grand scheme of things. You might love Jason, you might love Friday the 13th, but Alien is better on every level. From the story, from the sequels, the actual killer itself. It's a much better, like the intensity in the film, the tension, like everything about Alien is phenomenal. And
Alien has crossed a lot of media as well. There's been a lot of crossovers. Terminator versus Alien, Alien versus Predator.
I haven't seen Alien versus Terminator. I've seen Alien versus Predator. I've never knew there was a Terminator.
It was a comic. It was a comic.
Okay. But
it's the same. They did another one, RoboCop versus Predator or Alien. I can't remember which one it was.
I know they're all getting pushed into like Mortal Kombat and stuff like that, aren't they? Like Mortal Kombat have got Terminator, they've got Rambo, they've got fucking all of them. And I know Fortnite are getting them as well. Fortnite had Alien, Predator, and that.
Didn't Alien go into one of the Mortal Kombats? Wasn't it Mortal Kombat 10
I think
or 11?
like I say, like Mortal Kombat. I think Mortal Kombat had the license. I think they got the license for Predator and Alien, and then obviously as the years have gone, they've had Terminator, they've had RoboCop, haven't they?
Yeah. They've had a lot of things.
But I feel for this, for DBD, like I see this only being huge because I feel that this will make this license. I believe it's 20th Century Fox they got the license from, right? It's such a massive, and Disney, yes, it is. It's such a massive license. It's the biggest license they've ever had, and I feel if they do this license justice, and this license does a fuck ton of money, which I think it will, it's going to make everyone else sit up and take notice and be like, maybe Dead by Daylight can actually, maybe we can give them our license because look at how well they looked after Alien, and look how well they did with Alien. And I think it's going to open so many more doors, and more people are going to probably go to Dead by Daylight as opposed to Dead by Daylight coming and knocking on other people's doors, asking for the license. You're going to have people going to DBD and saying, are you interested in our license? And I think like for the longevity of the game for the next another 7 years, I do think they need to make changes in how the game plays, like maybe some more gameplay modes and stuff. But just in general, this license, I think you're going to see a skyrocket in the player base, and I think this is a very much people who have been moaning the last few releases and everything. This is going to pull a lot of people back in, and a lot of people, if they get it right,
yeah.
I think you're going to see a big upturn.
I suppose we'll have to see what the ability of the alien is, because obviously Alien is very much an instant killer. Yep. Although, that said,
it's a stalking killer, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, if you watch it's based on the first Alien, because the map's going to be the Nostromo.
One from Ridley Scott.
From Ridley Scott.
We'll
and it's and the Survivor, they haven't officially announced the Survivor, but it's going to be Ellen Ripley. But I wonder if they haven't released the name, like who, because there might be more than one potentially. I don't know, but you know,
who else would you put in?
Well, I'm wondering. I'm wondering if there might be, because what they did with like Resident Evil is like Resident Evil came out, and it came out with like 2 survivors.
The original.
No, it had Leon and Jill come in.
They had 2, haven't they? There were 2 Resident Evil.
Sorry, the first license that came in, it had Leon and Jill, and then obviously they did Project W, but also they've had their extra DLC, like cosmetic DLCs. You've had Carlos come into it. You've had Shiva, I think her name is, come into it. I'm not sure.
She's from Resident Evil 5.
5, yeah. I've never played 5, so I don't know who that.
I'm your Resident Evil man.
Yeah,
Resident Evil.
And I wonder, even though this is an Alien license, if they've got the wider scope, I wonder if we might get like Hicks potentially, either as standalone Survivor, probably not, because it is labelled as just Alien. But I'm wondering if we might get an alternate skin for Ripley, which would be Hicks, because they've done that before, male to female. You know, they've changed, because Cheryl Mason and James Sutherland, obviously Silent Hill, they are one, like, you know, they're
big question.
Skins, same character.
Big question. Will they put the eggs in? Will there be face figures?
I think so, because I think, I don't, like, a lot of people have been saying, is it going to be like the Demogorgon and have portals and stuff? Because obviously of the in the film, the alien travels through vents. But that would mean you having to create something on the map, like a vent system. It doesn't put down portals. Obviously, so I think maybe you're going to have like the eggs will open up as when people run close, and you might have something fly at you. You got to fucking dodge. But he's going to be a stalking killer, I would say, because
he can only really be a stalking killer.
Because the alien is a stalker in the original film. It's very, like, the original film was all based on isolation, you know, like that, the thing that something's always watching you, know, that claustrophobic feel. And this is why I'm going to love the map as well, because I think the map is going to be amazing. I can just see
it's going to be the Nostromo.
Yeah, the maps. I can see the map being brilliant for 2 reasons. One, because it's going to look fucking wicked, because, you know, we're going to get the med bay. You're going to get the canteen area where the thing pops out of the guy's chest. I can never remember the character name.
Surely the escapes will be to the
escape pods.
Escape pods.
Probably they'll figure that way. Obviously, it'll still be a hatch. It'll still be a gate that has to open, because that's the premise, isn't it, of the game, getting out the exit gate. But like, I'm thinking Michael Myers, Scratch Mirror Myers. Now, anyone who doesn't know, Scratch Mirror Myers, you play as Myers, and you've got wall hacks pretty much. You walk slower. You're in like tier 1. You can't get out of tier 1, which means you walk slower. But you're a stalking killer who you have wall hacks essentially. It sounds massively OP. It is, but it's also not.
It's offset.
Yeah. But like, I love it. I played on Friday. I streamed yesterday. My last game was a Myers game on the RPD map that was a Scratch Mirror game, and it's fucking great. It's like the edge of your seat, because you're just you're running around, and all of a sudden out of nowhere Myers just comes in, boom, and it just scares the crap out of you. And so I'm looking forward to that aspect as well, because I think it could potentially be an awesome Scratch Mirror map. So I'm so looking forward to it. Tuesday can't come quick enough.
And so I just on my side now, I'm not a big DVD player. I have played DVD. It's not like I've never played it. But even I said, when I saw the announcement which TJ sent me, I was like, man, that actually might get me back into playing DBD. So, whatever plan they've got, it's definitely going to work. I know another streamer friend of ours, Jay's on it. I know he's very excited about it, and I remember talking to him about it.
He's going to have a
difficult. Do you think we'll ever get Xenomorph?
Well, he's going to have a really difficult time because Jay is so looking forward to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which we'll probably discuss on the channel a little bit closer to the time because it comes out on the 18th. So probably talk about
not far away
though.
Not far away. A couple of weeks.
But he's massively, and he's like, and he was, before this was announced, he was talking to me and he was like, yeah, mate, it's going to become the basis of my channel for the next few months. I'm just going to be playing that all the time. No, now he's going to have Alien at the end of the month as well. I think you're going to have to mix it up.
Well, you'll probably have to do what people do, which is like, all right, Tuesday, whatever day it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to play DVD. I'm going to play this on another day. I mean, obviously, you're going to want to play TCM as well.
I've set my schedule out. Yeah, so I announced it on Friday on stream that my Monday will be Survivor Night DBD. My mains will be Nicolas Cage, Ellen Ripley. I will play Wednesday. I will play Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then Friday nights I'm going to do the Ghosty and Mikey thing that I do, which is a thing I do on stream with loads of videos and bits and pieces and stuff. It's quite fun.
It's very entertaining. Very entertaining. If you're not checking out TJ, do go check out TJ.
Much appreciated, dude.
It's the proper TJ over on Twitch, just to give him a little bit of a notch. I'm sure I'll get him to do a little thing on the video. He likes doing stuff like that. Right, talking a bit more entertainment, because we're on an entertainment sort of trail now.
Yep.
Did you see that? Sadly, I've lost the news thing now.
You're talking about Mark.
Yeah, Mark Margolis, is that his name?
Margolis. I think it'd be Margolis, because obviously,
So Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul star.
Scarface as well.
Oh, he's in Scarface as well.
Yeah, apparently he was in Scarface. Yeah, he was in Scarface. I was just looking it up there, but I don't remember him from Scarface. But I haven't seen it for years.
I will say 83 good innings.
Yeah,
good innings.
I mean, for those of you who don't know who we're talking about, if you've seen, he played Hector Salamanca in Breaking Bad. Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding
ding ding ding. Such a great scene. Such a great scene. Don't ruin it for those that haven't seen it.
And that's the thing. When you think about that, didn't speak in that role.
Nope.
But
no.
Awesome.
Terrifying stare.
Awesome in that role.
Terrifying fucking stare.
Awesome. Brilliant. Underrated actor, in my opinion. Very underrated actor.
He's got over 70 film credits across 5 decades of acting. He was in Noah, Black Swan, The Wrestler. He was in the classic Scarface as well. So, I mean, he is...
TV stuff
he
as well.
He played a villain and a bodyguard, Alberto.
A lot of TV stuff.
He was also in Oz. That's where I recognised him from.
That's the Australian prison thing, isn't it?
Was it Australian?
Was it an Australian?
Oz was...
it was a prison, wasn't it?
It was a prison.
It might not have been prison. It might not have been America. It was America, sorry, not Australia. I don't know why I thought it was Australian. But it was a prison thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. He was in The Equalizer. Australian. I think it's because Oz makes you think.
Oh, maybe.
But I think
maybe,
Oswald. I think Oswald Prison or something. I think it was meant to be something like that. And they called it Oz. They called the prison Oz. Because I watched a lot of that. American Horror Story.
Yeah. No, what was the last one? What was the other one you said while we were talking?
The Equalizer.
What, the original or the Denzel?
It was said television series.
The original then, wasn't it?
Yeah. Kings, American Horror Story Asylum, guest starred on Californication, Gotham, Crossing Jordan, and The Affair. Bryan Cranston also said about him.
I liked Californication, actually. That's an underrated TV
I never watched Californication.
Yeah, it's David Duchovny, isn't it?
Yeah, I knew Duchovny was in it, but
he's a sex pest.
Why I didn't watch it?
He's a sex pest. Not in a bad way. He just likes having sex.
Yeah, well, who doesn't? Yeah, who doesn't? Bryan Cranston said on Instagram, Mark Margolis was a really good actor and lovely human being, fun and engaging off the set, and in the case of Breaking Bad and Your Honor, intimidating and frightening on the set. His quiet energy belied his mischievous nature and curious minds. He loved sharing a good joke. Bob Odenkirk also remembered him on Twitter. A powerful screen presence. Mark made me laugh in the van on the way to his set with his jokes and his comments. I only hope that I have half his energy and focus when action was shouted. So a lot of love a lot of love for him. He was definitely terrifying in what I saw him in. That's 100%.
I've got the IMDb page up on this screen here, and obviously it's just showing a little montage of his clips. And I forgot he was Ace Ventura's landlord. And there's that scene where he comes in and goes, "I can hear all the animals. They're scratching on the walls. I can hear them." And he does the old with his keys, and all the animals go and hide. Oh,
fucking, I forgot about
just
that.
little roles like that. And just like, oh, I remember him from that. Yeah,
fucking fantastic. So, as we say, rest in peace. You're a nothing but an inspiration to a lot of people, obviously, and we love seeing you on screen. It will be, I'm sure, you'll be deeply missed within Hollywood or wherever it was that they were filming, which is usually Atlanta and other such places. So moving on, I think, what other news did we have that we were discussing earlier?
You had some DC news, didn't you?
Yeah, so DC news, it turns out that even though everyone was terrified that
the Gunniverse,
the Gunniverse was going to axe all the original Justice League folks, but it turns out that two of them at least are staying. Gal Gadot is in talks with Gunn at the moment about doing Wonder Woman 3, or maybe a new Wonder Woman, I suppose. It's never really been specified which. And it looks like Jason Momoa, that's right, Jason Momoa, he is going to stay as Aquaman. So I'm sure a lot of panties will be, a lot of people will be happy to see that.
Do you know what, right?
Bronzed Adonis.
Did I ever tell you the story about me and Aquaman?
No, carry on.
Okay. You'll laugh, but so I was working.
I hope so.
We were doing a clearance at this house, right? The person died. The neighbours had bought the house. They were going to do some work, extend their house or whatever. But it had been left to go to shit, so we had to clear it. The woman who had bought the property, she came with her son. Her son was probably about 7-8 years old. I believe he was autistic. And she was talking to us in there, and he was standing there, he was like hugging his mum and everything while he was talking to us. And she turned around, and I had sunglasses on at the time, and I'm just in my work, no hat on, just laughing, and I don't have long hair or anything. And she just turned to her son out of nowhere, mid conversation, and went, "Don't you think he looks like Aquaman?" And I've done the old like.
His head's going to be like this.
No, mate, it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. And I'm like looking around going, who the fucking hell is she talking about? And she's like, yeah, like, man. I'm like, and the two guys I'm working with are pissing themselves laughing. And I'm just like, all right, okay. It gets worse. She turns around to her son and goes, "Would you like a photo with Aquaman?" And literally, the son come over, stood next to me. I had to have a photo with this random child.
Have you got the bicep out?
No, I didn't. I was dying inside. I had my sunglasses on, and behind my sunglasses, I was dying inside. The guys have stepped to the side so I can see them behind the woman, wetting them. They're taking a photo of the woman taking a photo of me. I'm going to have to try and find it and send it to you. And I was so fucking embarrassed because then... that went all over. We've got a Works WhatsApp group. That went all over the Works WhatsApp group, and I'm getting photos of my face superimposed on fucking Jason Momoa. I was like,
Jason
Momoa, and you're just like, for fuck's sake, it's like one of the most embarrassing moments ever. Like, when you're thinking like, I think this woman's fucking falling on her head or something. Because fucking thinks I look like Jason Momoa. Jesus Christ. I mean, like, if I thought I looked like, I wouldn't have got married. I'd just be out slaying. Mate, if I look like, I was like,
I hope you tell the proper queen when you go home.
I told her, I come home and I said, "You are a lucky woman." She was like, "What's that?" She was like, "You are lucky that you took me in when, because otherwise, like everyone would be after me." And she just shook her head and went, "You're a fucking idiot." Oh, it's just so embarrassing. Like, I'm just, oh
my God. I'm going to buy you a golden trident for when I see you.
Fuck you. Don't you fucking dare. Don't you dare. Oh, mate, it happened it's about a year ago it happened, but it gets brought up every now and again. We'll be mid-conversation, a group of us at work, and then like something will just get dropped about fucking Aquaman. It's like, for fuck's sake. So embarrassing.
Talking about embarrassing.
Yeah. Oh, moving on.
What was her name? Large lady. Large lady was caught.
Oh, hang on. Is this bananas in vaginas are being eaten from underwear?
That's the one. That's the
We're
one.
talking
What's her
about
name again?
Lizzo.
Lizzo.
So Lizzo is being sued by, I believe it is 3 of her former dancers for sexual harassment. And name one of the sexual, racial, and religious harassment in several incidences between 21 to 23.
My life.
I believe it is 3 of her tour dancers. One of the things that apparently she forced them to do was, while in Amsterdam, I believe it was to eat bananas from the vaginas of sex workers.
That is incredible. Because one, if that came up in conversation and she goes, right, what I need you to do is they're going to jam a banana in her woo woo, and I just want you to eat it. And I'd go, I'm sorry, what?
I've never been to Amsterdam, but I know people that have, and I think it's like that's part of like the shows that they do. It's like part of like, I'll come and eat this out of like my pussy.
Talk about taking.
She's obviously forced
liberty.
her. I'm like, it's probably like a stage show, and she's forced her tour thingies get up there and eat that banana for my enjoyment. The other thing that it was her dancers were being fat shamed because they had apparently put on too much weight. Which I don't really want to go into.
No,
but I have thoughts
end up talking about Lizzo.
We shouldn't. Like, no one should be fat shamed ever. No matter what size they are, by anyone, no matter what size they are.
No, exactly.
But Lizzo has come out and denied all charges. So it'd be an interesting one to,
Well, we'll follow. We'll follow here a bit more because, because bananas in pajamas, bananas in vaginas getting eaten out of underwear is definitely something that wouldn't fly. I don't know whether I might fly it at work. I might see if anyone's interested in coming to Dam and.
Well, I'm just reading this. So I just want to read these two things here actually.
Use.
So according to the lawsuit filed in Los Angeles. Lizzo allegedly pressured one dancer to touch a nude performer at a club in Amsterdam, as well as the banana incident. Subjected several dancers to excruciating 12-hour...
BananaGate, should we call it?
BananaGate. To excruciating 12-hour auditions, making false accusations that they drank while at work. Lizzo's dance captain, Shirlene Quigley, pushed her Christian beliefs upon other performers and denigrated those who had premarital sex, also while simulating oral sex, sharing lewd sexual fantasies, and discussing one performer's virginity.
Which, there's lines.
So it's not just Lizzo, it's Lizzo's dance captain as well.
Like, look, everyone's allowed their own opinions and beliefs and everything, but you don't force them on other people. You can suggest them if you want, but you don't fucking force them.
I don't
force you all to believe in aliens.
I wouldn't even say you should suggest your views. I think my personal view is, and it's always been the same, you can do what you like, be who you like, believe what you like, just as long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone else, and as long as you're not pushing said views on me. Yes. If I want to know, I will come to you, and I believe that if a person wants to know, they will come to the person they want the information from and say, like, could you tell me a little bit more about Christianity, about, like, the Muslim faith, about, like, LGBTQ rights and everything like that, trans rights. If you want to know, then you will go and ask. You don't need to have these things pushed upon you, is how I feel. And like I say, everyone, like, be who you want to be. The world is such a great, diverse place. Yes. And I believe everyone could and should be getting along, but just we don't need to push shit onto people, No,
whatever you believe is whatever you believe.
100%.
You keep whatever you want to yourself, and I'm not saying you can't talk about it, but you don't talk about it in an aspect of like you must. Yeah, you must believe this.
I don't think it's a very small subsection of the population that probably actually do that.
Yeah, obviously.
But
unless of course you're vegan, and then you've got to tell everyone that you're vegan and just continue going on about being vegan because you're vegan. I'm not going to get into that. Just my views.
or if you don't like oil.
Yeah, that's it.
Right, moving on.
Anyway.
But I mean, they technically
nothing
are
against vegans. I don't need to know it.
They are technically hurting each other. Did you see a report the other day? Just going on a little tangent about the oil. So they're super gluing themselves to roads and that, aren't they? Because they're super fucking smart. Well, their next thing was actually concreting their hands to the pavement, and there was this video of this guy who had to. I
mean, it saves plastic if you think about it, because then you're getting human speed.
Do you know how much plastic's in cement? Anyway.
I was talking about the road thing.
Well, so obviously he's concreted or cemented whatever his hand to the ground. They've had to get the old can go out. He's come out and he's got a fuck off slab on his hand. The guy, I need to follow up on it, may have to lose his hand because they don't think they can actually remove. They don't think they can remove the concrete and tarmac from his hand without him losing his hand.
Guys,
I hope it was worth it. I hope it was worth it, because I can tell you now, you losing your hand is not going to affect what you want it to affect. It's not going to affect the change you want it to affect. No,
exactly. Find a better way to protest. Don't cause damage to yourself.
Or the road.
Or the road.
There's too many fucking potholes, and I need another one from where your fucking hand was. Yeah. Jesus. Anyway, moving on.
We said you can have your own opinion, but it appears that me and TJ have got opinions. Anyway,
unless it doesn't fit with our agenda.
This is our show, damn it, and we'll do it our way.
All right, carry on.
So it looks like turtles and sharks can't take down Barbie, according to Variety News. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Mutant Mayhem has come out, and the Meg 2, The Trench. Both projected openings north of $28 million at domestic box office. That's America. Obviously, Barbie is just, I believe it's still slaying at the box office.
It had a notable, that and Oppenheimer definitely had a notable drop, didn't they, in week 2? But a notable drop for them is still going to outdo 90% of other films doing their opening week this year.
Because they reckon it's going to make maybe $1 billion, or maybe
it'd be interesting to see what makes $1 billion quicker. Avatar, Way of the Water, because that was this. Was that this year or was that late last year? It was this year, wasn't it? Might need to look at that.
Was it this year?
Oh, I'm just trying to think now. Maybe it was.
I think it was the end of last year,
wasn't
it? Was it Christmassy time?
Oh, that's actually, yeah. Hang on, let's have a look. Because it's just made me. It's come as a 2022 film, but where's Wikipedia for the actual release date? Release me.
Well, he looks things up.
December 6th.
Looks up things. December 6th, yeah. So
okay, fair enough. Okay. Well, it'll still be interesting to know, because I imagine that was the last massive blockbuster. Fast X, I don't think was going to reach $1 billion by itself.
No. So I enjoyed Fast X.
Obviously, but at the box office, it's saying collectively $2.32 billion for Way of the Water. So it'd be interesting to know what reaches $1 billion quicker. Way of the Water, Barbie, Oppenheimer. I don't think it'll be Oppenheimer, but Barbie may.
Well, it's still a summer movie, so it's in the same wheelhouse of trying to do, Christmas movies are there during.
It's your two things a year in it. Christmas and summer holidays are your two. When you release your two big franchises, or your big movies.
In other film news, did you see that Saw's going to get Saw 10, and apparently he's coming back again somehow?
Timeline, isn't it? It's set like after the first, before the second, or something like that. Because Amanda's back as well, isn't she?
I did hear Amanda's
coming back as
Piggy. They released a trailer this week, I believe.
Yeah, they released a trailer. I am here for it, not because I think the film's going to be great, just because I'm a sick sadist who likes to see people get mutilated in fun and fantastical ways. It's why I love the Final Destination movies.
Yeah.
Like the storyline was shit. Tony Todd was a weird death kind of character, but still, But I'm here for watching people get things fly through their eyeballs or get splattered by a plate glass window from a giant height, go into a dentist.
Like a little bit of gore.
Well, it makes it interesting now, because every time I go into the dentist, I think, right, okay, is this gonna make a spark that's gonna land on this water that's then gonna trickle out here and set a chain reaction, and I'm gonna get the fucking drill go up my arsehole. I'm like, what could happen?
Not that I want everyone to think about me in the shower, but whenever you when you get in the shower and you get that little, and you go, oh, I'm like, fuck, that could have been the end of me then. It went all very, very badly.
It's do I get in an elevator? Am I going to get my head lopped off by getting in this elevator? It's risky, Or an escalator, I might get stuck. I still have that thing, right? Mate. I still have the thing. I don't think anyone in the history of escalators has ever been sucked into the escalator. When you get off, and I do it to my daughter now. I'm like, make sure you get off with enough room. As you come up to the edge, you step over the edge. You don't, and I see her standing. I'm like, No. This ain't a fun and games. We're not playing chicken with a fucking escalator here, love. Do you want to die? No. Step off.
You're taking risks with your life, damn it.
And I was like, no one's probably ever died by escalator, like that way, by an escalator, in the history of escalators. But you never know, people.
You never know. Kids. Do not test it. Because one day I'll read about your death on an escalator and go, they should have learnt. We have been warned countless times about escalators and their potential for death.
Fucking death traps. I mean, every supermarket in the fucking known universe has got them, but they're death traps.
Death traps, god damn it. I know they're always fucking broken.
In an age of health and safety, how dare they pass?
Exactly. I'm a large man. I don't like to walk upstairs, and every time I see the fucking escalator, there's some cunt working on it. Annoyed. Martin Short. Martin Short. I'm doing it again.
So hang on, Jason Momoa, Ridley Scott, and Martin Shorting, or whatever you just called it.
Martin Short could win the Emmy for lead actor. Have you watched Only Murders in the Building?
So I've seen the first few episodes. That's the Disney thing, isn't it? Steve Martin. Yeah.
Martin Short.
Martin Short, and I can never remember her name. Selena Gomez, is it?
Selena Gomez, yes.
Yeah.
Selena Gomez.
It's an interesting thing because it's about a podcast.
Yes, it is as well.
The thing is, it's like these things. I started watching it. I was really enjoying it. I started watching it with the wife. The wife's like less than impressed. Was like, okay, I need to watch it by myself. And then I'm like a fish or whatever, the 6-second memory. I'm like, oh look, shiny thing. Like I get distracted and I haven't gone back to it. But it's got a good premise to it.
I'm looking forward to the third season. I've watched both seasons. Absolutely.
Well, the first two. So I'm at the point where pretty much they're doing the podcast and everything. There's been obviously the murder and that, and you're starting to find out about Selena Gomez, and there's some little dark history going on there. So I will go back to it, but I
definitely recommend it. I definitely. I love a murder mystery though. I'm very much into
same
murder
here.
mystery.
Glass Onion, Knives Out, brilliant films. I'm
looking forward to the next Agatha Christie film that's coming out because.
How can you say that right and you can't even get Ridley fucking Scott right?
Agatha Christie.
Yeah, there you go. Say Hercule Poirot for me, please.
Hercule Poirot.
I'll tell you what, actually. With him, what's his name? Kenneth Branagh in the Hercule Poirot films, like Death on the Nile and The Orient Express, Murder on the
Orient Express.
Good
Murderers
films.
on the Orient Express.
Yeah, good films.
Really, really good.
Good
the next one's like a horror one. It looks fucking great.
I really enjoyed them. Good films. I think they're on Disney. Go and watch them, people.
Yeah, go and watch them. But the next one comes out, I think, on September 18th, I think. Let me check.
Nice.
Let me just do a my man looks up thing on internet.
Yeah.
There he is.
Another good actor, isn't he?
He is. He's fantastic. He is absolutely fantastic. Death on the Nile. What? Really? Can we not just do them in
decent people
order?
in that as well. When you think Death on the Nile was like Gal Gadot, wasn't it, as well?
A Haunting in
Armie
Venice
Hammer, I
is
think.
what it is.
A Haunting in
Venice. Venice. I can say that word. So I mean, obviously, I know we're doing a little bit over on our entertainment, but there's a lot of entertainment to be chatted about.
That's all right. It's all good.
This week, also in video game news, saw the release finally after a couple of years in early access of Baldur's Gate 3, which TJ is annoyed about. But I'm going to talk about
I'm not. No, I'm not annoyed. It's just not my type of game. Although I did find myself sitting there, like looking at pictures on Twitter of people's characters that they've made, and thinking the fucking customization on the characters is fucking awesome. And if I was, there's like about a bajillion different kind of characters you can be.
A lot of wangs.
And
there's a lot of wangs.
And I was thinking to myself, like, if this was a kind of game that I could get into, I would lose at least 2 weeks on just character creation alone. Like, because there's so much.
Yeah, people have spent like at least. I mean, I started a campaign with some of my friends the other day, and we spent at least an hour in character creation. Maybe because I was looking at a dragon's penis, and I was like, I've just got to know. I've got to know what do people assume a dragon's penis looks like.
Curiosity.
So now I know.
Was it scaly?
It was scaly. It was very
Right,
scaly.
that's really weird because I imagine it's not an outie. It's like it's an innie, if you know what I mean.
No,
like most animal penises, they're like innies, and then they like pop out.
Yeah.
So I
Then they
imagine
pop
like
out,
it
but
wouldn't
no.
it wouldn't
This
be
was
scaly
just
on the
out.
inside.
Small balls.
Oh,
Small
okay,
balls.
right, okay, yeah, cool.
Wasn't
cool.
expecting. I thought bigger balls.
Yeah,
not
but then
big
like I
pair of
wonder if
balls,
like
but
when they're
no, small
flying and
balls.
stuff, a bit wind drag, wind resistance from the balls. If you got big balls, you're flying over trees, you might catch them on a treetop or something.
True. Nobody wants that.
Yeah,
I mean,
nah.
it's just one flick to your bollocks and fucking, I'm in pain for at least an hour and a half.
No,
My
dragging
wife knows how
down.
to do that.
Dragging down, why? Mountain tip to the balls, you know?
That's it. That dragon's come down. It's got it. Absolute devastation. But no, it's very, very good. Apparently, just to let you know, the main story is about 100 hours, but there is 173 hours of cutscene because
Wow.
there is so much choice.
There something I did read, sorry to interrupt, was that like people are massively praising it because in the age of microtransactions of like 40 billion bits of fucking DLC that you never buy a full game anymore. You're buying 10% of the game because the other 90% is going to come over the next 2 or 3 years in DLC. Apparently, it's like pretty much the full game. Like there's no microtransactions.
They said
it's no
no cosmetics, none of this, none of that pay to win bullshit. I mean, the game is based on Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, and it's the closest thing that anyone's ever come to. It's gorgeous as well, absolutely stunning, like graphic wise.
Looks like you need like fucking a NASA computer to play it, but yeah, cool.
I don't think that the specs are that high. Because if you ever, like, they did Larian Studios, who are the devs, they did Divinity 2 first, and that run on PlayStation 4 just fine. And that looked gorgeous as well. And you think, like, how are these wizards managing to nail this? Apparently, EA and Ubisoft devs come out and was complaining, saying, well, we just don't have that kind of time to work on that game. So, well, yeah,
no. It's just it's just that your money grabbing bastards who are like, we need to rush out like version 28 of this game the next year rather than leaving a game out. Like FIFA could be a 2-year game. You could have the same game for 2 years and actually
just update it for a season.
Just update the transfers and everything, and then update the actual game so we don't get the same fucking game every year. Because you don't change.
We charge
anything.
70 quid for the same game again.
But it's
you don't even add anything in.
Ultimate Team makes them so much fucking money and shit, doesn't it? And it's like with everything, like Assassin's Creed. Actually, like maybe take 5 years off and make a fucking better game rather than trying to get Assassin's Creed Black Flag 64 out.
Mate, they have announced like 4 Assassin's Creed games. There's Mirage, which is actually going back to its roots, where it's going to be a bit shorter, they say.
Yeah.
There's one in feudal Japan, I believe. There's
that could
talk
awesome.
of a World War
Visually.
II one, which sounds awesome to me. A World War II Assassin's Creed game actually sounds pretty good. And then there's, I think, a couple of mobile games.
Problem is, they're all going to be stuck behind like pay to win, fucking like stupid grinds.
Mate, I didn't even finish the last couple of Assassin's Creeds. They were just too big.
Yeah.
I haven't got 300 hours to put into any game, especially when it's the same grind attack that I've been doing the entire 300 hours. I'm like, I'm bored.
Yeah.
Bored. Turn it off. Fucking. So, game devs, if you're listening, I hope you are. Please stop with that nonsense. Just get your story done and told and fucking in and out the door, mate.
I feel like 2 games really stand out in that world in the terms of Baldur's Gate. I haven't played either, so it is me like singing their praise. I haven't played fucking either, and I don't plan to. And that's Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate. And the fact of they're like, let's just make a game that is complete, start to finish, and you can enjoy it for 50 quid. 60 quid,
From Software are fantastic devs.
Fantastic. That's Elden Ring,
are proving to be as
that's
well.
That's Elden Ring, yeah.
And they've got Armored Core 6 coming out later this month.
I know you're excited about that, aren't you?
26. Yes, because I love me some gigantic mechs shooting missiles and dodging missiles. I like it. Right, so that was just a little bit of video game news for those that are interested in a little bit of video games, because we play video games over here, believe it. So, talking from one media into another, we, of course, if you caught us last week, I'm getting good at these
segues
and transitions. We have, of course, been watching Twisted Metal, the TV show, not the video games. The last video game that came out for that was something like, I don't know, 2012, I think was.
Never played any of them, to be honest, so yeah.
So, for those that are wondering, I did find out a little bit of information before we get into it.
Yeah.
So I found out what the budget was for Twisted Metal, and it's a pretty big budget for it.
Well, for the whole, I was going to say
million.
for the whole series, I was going to say about 100. So
No, 86 million they got for the whole series.
makes a lot of sense because it's even just watching the first 2 episodes that we did spoke about last week. It looks like it's a more high budget. You know, things actually look real. You know, you can tell when they're cheap CGI and stuff, and they've not got a massive budget behind it. This one actually looked pretty decent. So,
and they haven't scrimped on actors, have they? Really? Because you got Anthony Mackie, you got Nev Campbell.
No and yes, in a sense, I suppose, because they're still not what I would call they're not A-list actors. Like if Anthony Mackie you replace him with like a Chris Hemsworth, that's there's a big jump. You know what I mean? They're still top actors, but like Stephanie Beatrice is a TV actor. I don't mean no disrespect on that. She, you know, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't really know what much movies done. Anthony Mackie, I wouldn't say he's a household name superstar. He, you know, if he didn't,
he is becoming Captain America though in the new film.
So his star's going to rise, but is he becoming Captain America too late because we're on phase 79 now, you know, of the Marvel universe?
And let's face it, phase 5 of the Marvel.
It's so poor at the moment, you know. But I think a lot of superhero movies. I think we may be superhero movied out, but that's a different discussion for a different day. Unless there's Guardians, and I'm here for that every day of the week.
Guardians is great.
Guardians is awesome.
More James Gunn.
But I feel that they're like, these are the kind of actors that I expect to see in these type of TV shows, because they're not your tier 1 A-list actors who like you're like, oh my god, he's fucking done a TV show. But they're like that. Oh yeah, I can see him in this, and I can understand why. Like as time has moved on, TV is more an acceptable medium for actors like Anthony Mackie, and you know.
Well, it's definitely moved away from the movie star, TV star realm, hasn't it? Now you get a lot more crossover.
There's that more crossover, but like I say, it's you know, unless there's something that, you know, the actor goes, oh, I had to do this part because, I mean, John Doe is not like a part for the ages that, you know, someone might be like, I was drawn to that part. But yeah, so like, yes, good actors, but not massive actors. In my opinion.
I mean, I think they're good for what they're going for. Yeah. Obviously, you know, so I don't know if anyone knew this. I can't remember if we said about it last week, but obviously, Twisted Metal is actually wroed by the Deadpool and Zombieland guys.
I didn't.
So, and it shows. It shows a lot more, I think, in these. So, the first episode that we're going to cover today was episode 3, which was called, I think, Not the Law 1 or N.
Yeah, they're number plates, aren't they?
Yeah, they're number plates.
The names are like they're done in number plate form.
That's it. So
brilliant start to the episode. Brilliant start to the episode.
Yeah, I thought it was a really, really good start as well. Absolutely fantastic.
I feel this is, sorry to interject there, but I feel this is what we noticed. Like especially the first episode. So obviously we watched 1 and 2 last week. We're going to cover a few episodes this week. I felt that the start of the first episode was strong. You know, the mall, him driving around the mall, comedic moments, and that. And I felt like this started exactly the same. Because I was like, oh, okay, where 2 ended with them arriving at the dam and then getting tased. I was like, okay, we're just going to get straight into that for episode 3, but to get like the origin that we got, which
I thought was really good, and I think it was a good place to put it, because you've had the intrigue of the first 2, and now you're probably going, well, what did happen, and when did it happen?
And it wasn't stupidly long.
No, it just got in and out, and you know, you basically got the gist of it, because at the start of the first episode, he sort of covered that something happened to technology, a bug, I believe. So you know. There's talk of almost Y2K.
Yeah, I was going to say Millennium Bug feels.
Yeah, and it was 2002 that apparently this whole system went down. I remember seeing the old Nokia popped out, and I was like, Nokia.
Playing Snake.
Yeah, playing Snake. It's all anyone did on that phone. And obviously you got to see the origins of Agent Stone, or Officer Stone, as he would have been at the time. Yeah. Now, just for those that are into the video games, Agent Stone was a secret agent in the video game. He wasn't a police officer, but that was Agent Stone in the video game. Was very much he drove a really, really fast car, had all missiles and everything, as all the cars do. There was actually over the episodes that we watched, there was a lot of nods to the video game. So Mike and Stu,
Mike and Stu.
they're actually from the video game as well. They drove a monster truck in the video game, not police officers as you see them in this. There's Agent Shepard. He was the second person to drive the secret agent car in one of the latest sequels as well.
Yeah, well, he is Stone's right-hand man, isn't he, in this?
He was.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
But yes, so it opened up and we saw two girls talking.
Sorry, did it actually? It did give the year, didn't it?
2002.
2002. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
And I think they're meant to. I assume, because of what Anthony Mackie's character said, John Doe has said a couple of times, is that it must be 20 years on. So they filmed this in 2022.
It's set in our time now. Just obviously, different.
But time sort of stopped in itself. So obviously we open up with what's happened, which you watch all the screens go weird and all the mobile phones go weird, and then just a load of missiles.
Do you know? Yeah, that's what I found really cool. I was just saying that. That's what I found really cool, because normally when you would just say, like when you say, "Oh, like fucking like something happened with technology and stuff," and it was like almost like someone turned the power off, essentially.
Yeah, that's it.
But like as you see planes dropping there, and there was a something I watched years ago. I can't think what it's called now, and it's set, and it actually had Giancarlo from Breaking Bad, whatever his name is, whatever. Anyway, Gus Fring's character.
Gus
Giancarlo
Esposito.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I did a minute. I can't remember. But,
Come on, all right, you want to be man looks up thing on the internet.
It's like Esposito, yeah, Giancarlo Esposito or something like that.
I'm not gonna be able to say it anyway. I can barely say fucking Ridley Squat. So let's just pretend that we found it, and we're on about.
There's a series
villain in a million things.
There's a series that he's in, and it's very much like it's like almost like an EMP went off, and like planes fell from the sky, and they've got no technology anymore. Someone turned off the power. But I was thinking that's what happened with this after listening to what happened in the first two episodes. But then when you realise no, it's fucking worse than that, because you start seeing like every missile was launched as well. So it was almost like this isn't just like an America thing. This is a global world thing. Like you start seeing missiles, and there's like literally 40 missiles just firing overhead.
Yeah.
Planes, and you're like, shit got real, 0 to 100, like that. You know.
Yeah. See that man lose his leg, so they're not shying away from all.
Did you also see as well, like it was a piece of a NASA space shuttle?
I saw it was a piece of NASA.
I like that. Just like the nice little NASA logo next to his leg. That was good. Fucking NASA.
And then as it goes on, obviously, then we cut back to our heroes, so to speak, which is Quiet and John Doe. John Doe is he is an actual character in the video game. There is a guy called John Doe, and he's got amnesia just like our John Doe currently has. So you see them; they've been arrested at Hoover Dam. So you get to see them go in, and it's referenced that this is very much like the DMV.
The DMV, yeah. Well, that's what Stone's doing, is he? Stone's creating like you need a license, like you would need a normal driving license. You need a license to be able to drive on these roads. If not, we're going to like take you in. You can apply for a license. If you still don't get a license, we're going to
walk the red line.
Yeah, which leads to somewhere really interesting.
It does lead very, very interesting. Obviously, we get to learn a little bit more about our larger officer, Officer Stu, and his friend, as I mentioned earlier, Mike. And Stu is very much put on because he's large, which talks to what we were saying earlier, which is we're not against anyone being large, but obviously
I feel
in this end of the world,
in terms of it's a close line between a term of endearment and like fat shaming in it, because they call him big guy.
They do call him big guy, yeah.
All right, big guy. Now, some people would take someone all right, big guy. Like, I'm not going to take offence to it, but I can understand how some people would take offence to it.
My wife calls me fat. I take great offence, but apparently she married me and makes it all even or something.
I suppose it depends on how it's conveyed, and it's definitely put on in this that it's conveyed like All right.
as an insult.
Instead of just calling him, you might just call him Chunk
Stu.
or something like that.
Call him Stu. That's his name.
No, but that's too simple. I mean, he's got the shortest name in the whole series, and they make it bigger and two syllable. Yeah, great. Would be easier to say Stu.
Yeah, it would. I tell you what, they show some very, very interesting torture for our two heroes, don't you think?
So yeah, obviously, what they strip down Evelyn, which is the John Doe Scooby. They strip her completely down, and they find a map. Now we referenced the map last week when we said they're literally like the fucking child maps that you get, but someone has actually plotted the map. Like, I didn't really know the significance of the map so much. I just thought, this is the only map they've got. But what they've actually been done is the maps have been, so Stone has checkpoints everywhere, like this one, the Hoover Dam, and these maps actually circumvent all of these checkpoints. And when he realizes, he's like, hang on a fucking minute, like, who's made this? And he wants to know the cartographer, aka map maker, where John Doe
doesn't know what cartographer is, because
a lot of people don't.
He was very young in 2002. So
I bet if you asked a lot of people, they wouldn't know what a cartographer was.
Correct.
Very much probably a dying art form. And so they want to know who made the maps, and so they go down the route of torture, and it's bordering on the like ridiculous, and then the I expect that as torture, because there is waterboarding. That's a number one go-to. If you're going to torture someone, it's an old classic.
That's it.
Don't turn your nose up at it. It works.
It does. Shit yourself. You think you're drowning.
What I thought was a little bit silly and didn't think would work, but then I thought, actually, when more I think about it, I would have probably given up after the song was on repeat for the second time. And that is Barbie Girl played at very high decibels. And then you have to, while doing this, you have to fill out a form 3,000 times in triplicate with a pencil this size. And not only that, but I did so the moments of levity we spoke about last week, and like John Doe, obviously he's amnesia, he doesn't know, and obviously if you've woken up and you don't know anything, you have no memory of the time before this, and you wake up and this is the world now, and no one's going to teach you certain things because normal things go out the window. Like, if you've never seen a form before, or like since this happened, you've never known a form and you never knew what forms were before. Like, he turns around and says, "What's a dob?" And it took me a second to like, what the fuck's a dob? What's he talking about, a dob? State of birth, isn't it? Like, and I was like, oh yeah, on a form I'd know what it was, but just say, when he come out and I was like, oh yeah, I fucking feel like an idiot now. Yeah, it's date of birth, isn't it? And he's like, I don't know my fucking date of birth, you bastard.
I thought it was really well done, because you forget, and you take a lot of things for granted in your own life. But if you've got amnesia and you've got no recollection of when things started, how old you were, what your age is currently, you just know time has passed.
Yep.
And it's not like he can just check his phone and go, what year is it? So he has no idea, and obviously everyone else around that table was a bit like, well, it's date of birth, dummy. But and you see how much, because they're trying to write with that little pencil, but later when you see him filling out the forms, the fingers are bleeding
blood. And I also noticed when they're sitting there later in the chair, you got blood in the ears as well.
It's like, what do they make them watch, and then spray them in the eyes with mace?
Oh shit! I
can't remember what it is now.
Oh mate, I just kept thinking of Blank Man, but that's obviously that's later on, isn't it?
Later on. What do they make them watch? I cannot remember what they make them watch.
Oh yeah, and then they're like, they spray them with like mace or whatever, don't they? Oh
yeah, they're literally forcing their eyes open like that.
It's like Clockwork Orange type thing, isn't it? You will watch this.
You'll watch it. And then they keep asking him. Honestly, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I mean, I suppose, because you think torture, you think, they're going to be like ripping fingernails off, waterboarding, etc., etc., etc. But they don't do that. They do it in such a weird way. And I never thought about it as torture. But like you say, if you play Barbie doll loud enough and then make me fill forms, I can't even focus. I'd be so fucking angry that I'd just go, well, all right, I'll tell you, I've had enough. Please make this stop. Turn it off.
I'm just trying to find out.
I can't remember what it is that they watch, but they make them watch something.
Oh,
and it must be torture.
I can't. Yeah, I can't find it. I can't fucking find it.
I
Oh,
cannot
it's
remember
gonna
what it is.
bug me now and all.
I cannot think what it
No.
is. Hold on. Can I? Is there going to be any?
It would have been funny if they'd have put Brooklyn Nine-Nine on there.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Oh.
A lot of Brooklyn alumni in this, to be honest. There's a few people. I won't ruin it for people who haven't seen it, but yeah, there's a few Brooklyn alumni. Hold on.
Yeah, but
Let me
yeah,
see in the trivia.
So yeah, if you carry on with that, I'll thinking. So obviously the torture, pretty much John Doe. They turn around to John and it's like, tell us, and it's like, look, I've known this guy for as long as I can remember anything, and this guy has done more for me than anyone else ever will. So you're never getting this information for me. So they're like, right, we're taking them to the red line. And we find out that the red line is pretty much leads you to a waiting room where you have your number called as if you're at the supermarket waiting to get your fucking sliced ham from the deli counter, which then you're led down a corridor to the door which opens up to the Hoover Dam, and you get chucked out in the Hoover Dam.
Well, you get a choice, don't you? You can either jump out
or be pushed out. You can either jump out or you can be pushed out. And this is where, like Stu, as we spoke about earlier, he is constantly getting like joked about and everything, and he's coming kind of like to the end of his tether, and you can see he's there for the turning, and John Doe and Quiet manage to talk him round. Into like, come on,
because he doesn't want to kill, does he?
No, he doesn't want to kill. Although I think we're going to see a nice little, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to save these people, and I'm going to save myself, because I think Stu realizes as well that his time there is done. He's not going to survive in that environment, so he probably sees them as his way out, as well as like, I can save these, and these will give me a way out.
So he leads them to the gift shop. Now the gift shop has all the weapons in, all their clothing, all the items and weapons. And of course, at this point, Quiet has obviously got her own agenda because of what happened with her brother. So she wants to find Agent Stone. And I suppose what we've not touched on is you actually see Agent Stone's origin as well, don't you? Because he's basically a mall cop. He's power crazy.
Yeah, he's like a bit downtrodden. Like, people take the piss out of him. People don't listen to him. His authority is very much in question. Like in back in 2002, and when all the shit hits the fan, he's in his home. There's obviously his neighbours know that he's a police officer. He's got guns, so a couple come in and pretty much raid him of his guns, call him a prick, pretty much, and then fuck off.
They always called him. They always thought he was an arsehole.
Arsehole, yeah, that's right. They thought he was an arsehole, and and then he goes down that drunken stupor of like, oh, I'm fucking useless, until. And I thought this was a restaurant owner comes in and says, terrorists have taken over my restaurant, and he's like, no, I'm not the guy anymore, and he's like, no, I thought you were a police officer, I was wrong, and it kind of sparks something inside him saying, no, I am a police officer, and he gets out the picture of his dad, and you're like, okay, it's one of those stories again where it's like, I'm never going to be as good as my dad and everything, and he takes a gun and goes to the restaurant. And it kind of, I thought this was a really nice take, actually, what they did here, because he goes in there, pulls a gun on them and said, like, right, get out, you bunch of terrorists, pretty much. Yeah. And they're not terrorists. They're just people who are starving, who want food, who need food, looters, obviously. And
it turns out the restaurateur is hoarding it all.
Yeah, he's got enough food for lots of people, but and I mean, you can't. It's a difficult situation again, isn't it? Because you give all your food away, you got no food for yourself. So
exactly.
And he's just like, no, you've got to leave. And then they start berating him once again. The whole you're a mall cop, you're a pussy, everything, and he loses it and shoots 4 people.
Yeah, just think Kill Bill.
Yeah, it just the switch flips in his head. And then
the teddy bear, though. Don't forget about the teddy bear.
He sees blood from under a table, goes to investigate under the table. He's obviously fired a bullet under this table, and there's what looks to be a little girl under the table and a teddy bear, and he's obviously killed this little. And rather than take his own responsibility for it, he doubles down on the fact that it's these other guys. It's like, you made me do this. You made me shoot this child because you made me shoot you. And it sets on a chain of events which has led to Stone to where he is now.
Yes,
and I think it's a very
nice
strong origin story. Yeah, I think
so.
it was. It sets him up nicely because, like, a little bit later on, you see he still has that teddy bear. But ultimately, and then it flips back to now, essentially.
Yeah.
And Evelyn, John Doe's beloved Subaru, has been absolutely stripped of all weapons, pretty much fucking everything.
His toilet roll. Can't believe they
can't
took
believe
out
it.
his
And his
toilet roll.
coconut butter.
His coconut butter. His cocoa butter.
Which I thought he was using for lube to masturbate, but no, it's actually to stop him getting ashy skin.
Funny you should mention masturbate, because we see another scene, don't we, TJ?
Yes, we do. Obviously, while this is happening, Quiet is off, like, trying to find Stone to kill Stone. She can't find Stone because Stone's left
But she finds his
to
office.
headquarters. Yeah, he's left for the headquarters. But who does she find, Jay?
She finds Agent Shepard. Agent Shepard's
What's
there.
he doing, Jay?
He's vigorously masturbating over a comic book. An anime comic book with schoolgirls in.
With schoolgirls. Fuck's sake. Not even colour. It's fucking black and white.
And then he has the balls, and I say that
in his hand.
Because when Quiet comes in, he's still got his pants around his ankles, and he's trying to say, like, you can play with, you can grab these balls if you want to, and she just does that. Oh, are we flirting? And then because they say that how you be remembered, how they find you dead is how you'll be remembered. So you're going to be found with you gripping your tiny little balls, or pebbles as she calls them.
I loved the level of brutality she went to as well. Now, she had a gun with bullets in it. She could have shot him in the head, but I think she also realised in that moment that if she shot him in the head, it's noise, it's going to. So yeah, she takes the butt of the gun and caves his skull in. Now, one thing I will say, and continuity is something that I think they don't do very well in a lot of TV series and films, and this had one. So she bashes his head in, at least 15 blows, maybe 20 blows, and then she is literally covered. Her hair is glistening with the blood that is running, and it's all over the side of her face. While this is happening, John and Stu are pushing Evelyn because Evelyn is
Stu left
flat
the
battery while he
Stu
was
left the
searching
light
car.
on.
So they're pushing Evelyn, and she just pops up out of nowhere, pushes the car, and her hair doesn't have a speck of blood in it. She's got a few little specks on her face, but it's like she took a shower while she was waiting, and so continuity is, but it's questionable in everything. And then unfortunately they jump in the car. Stu gets smacked in the face by the boot. And he's left to fend for himself.
Poor Stu. I actually felt sorry for him.
I felt sorry, but I think Stu's going to become my favourite character by where I think his arc is going now. Because obviously that pretty much sees. Well, while Quiet has also found out that Stone's headquarters is in Topeka. She feeds John a line that her and her brother were searching for this sanctuary in Topeka, so can she drop him off there? He's like, yeah, cool, no worries. Pretty much that's how the episode draws to a close.
More or less, yeah.
And I felt, like I say, started really well. I felt moved along really well. There wasn't much lulls. It's a half-hour episode, so there isn't that much chance for much drop-off, to be honest. And I think we got a good character development with Stone. And largely a good episode. Yeah,
it was a good episode. I 100% agree that. Which takes us to our next episode, which is Who Dares, or Who Dare, or WHZDARE as the number plate, I suppose you would say. Now, this episode, it sort of opens up the world and what some people are doing in the world a bit more, doesn't it? Now, me and TJ both agree, although completely sort of unrealistic. I did really, really like how Evelyn got captured, shall we say? Because I'm trying to remember how it starts, but essentially
they're driving. It's obviously night time.
Yeah.
And they hear a noise, and they're like, "What's that?"
It's going to stealth mode.
And stealth mode is turning the lights off.
Yes.
And then what's brilliant about that is then a truck behind them turns their lights on, and his response is, "Oh my God, they had stealth mode."
Now, I've got to say, and don't be wrong, I understand the TV, but I find it a little hard to think that you wouldn't notice 4 gigantic fucking trucks sneaking up on you. Because trucks are not quiet. These are not electric fed things. But they managed to completely surround Evelyn. And we won't talk about the terrible shotgun that Quiet wastes on the reinforced steel doors.
They are. What's the word I'm looking for? Like the way that they do, the way that they capture them is so well organized. They've captured a lot of people. Let's just say that.
And so what they managed to do is they covered them in the front, so they're in convoy, and then they've got 2 trucks either side, and they've got a truck behind and a truck in front, and they managed to put the what would you call it, the back doors open. So the back of the truck opens up.
Yep.
And then another truck comes up and hits Evelyn in the arse, so that it forces him to drive forward and up the truck, and then and then they shut it.
If you remember Knight Rider, for those of you who are old enough to remember Knight Rider, where the back door would drop and Michael Knight and Kit would drive out the back. Imagine them being pushed into one by another truck.
And then they shut the doors, the lights come on, and you find that you're in a workshop, like a car workshop. Mm-hmm. And then they do this incredible, almost Transformer-like thing where the 4 wagons come near to each other and the doors open onto each other and create corridors.
Yeah.
And then they've made a city or almost a town.
Yeah.
In trucks.
The precision of it is phenomenal. It's absolutely amazing. You would hate to be the person that accidentally hits a road bump or something and then causes the whole thing to split apart. You'd hate to be that driver, I tell you. Yeah. But yeah, and that's where we meet. What was her name? I wrote it down. Watts. Yeah. We meet Watts.
That's another little nod to the video game, because there is is it Amanda Watts? Miranda Watts. Well,
she's obviously a mechanic and obviously a weapons expert, if you will. In this, I don't know if she is in the game. But
you don't really find out too much backstory in the game. It's more like what cars they drive, and you do get a hint at what car she drives in this, if you remember.
What, the BMW?
Do you remember? No. That is actually Granny Dread is another character from
Granny Dread was cool.
Yeah, she really, really well. I loved how he called her out. So anyway, I knew. They basically need her.
I knew that. When I see her wheeled out, it was like bullshit. I was like, bullshit. I'm calling it now. Bullshit.
I loved how he did that though. He goes, Granny, your oxygen. What are they called?
It's not connected. The oxygen tubes. The oxygen tubes weren't connected.
And she's like, "Oh,
damn it,
shit." And she's a pervy old granny.
Yeah, the Granny Sutra. Love it. The Granny Sutra. Love it.
But Granny Dread was also another character in Twisted Metal, the video game as well, and so it was a good nod there. In fact, there was three characters in this. We'll get into the other one in a minute, but Miranda Watts is one. Granny Dread was another one, and there's another one coming up in a little bit. You get to meet Tinker, and TJ loves this bit because Tinker gives Quiet something to replace her missing finger.
Quiet's missing the middle finger on one of her hands. And obviously, when we meet Tinker, she's missing an arm from the elbow. And literally she fits an arm on and starts talking, and she's like, "Oh, I've got something for you." And she gives her this metal finger that does have motion in it. But it's amazing that obviously it's just a finger with a strap. But the minute Quiet puts it on, she's now got a fully functioning finger again. It's like it moves. Like it was phenomenal. And I found myself whenever she was on screen looking to see if I could see her hands, because I was like, once again, continuity is not strong. But it's the little things, people. The little things.
It is the little thing. So what the truckers want, they want John Doe to go and do a delivery for them because he's a milkman.
He's a milkman.
Milkman's what they do. We get a little bit into some of the factions that exist in the world. A new one gets added to us because obviously we know about the lawmen and we've seen the vultures, but now we get told about the holy men.
The holy men. the convoy, is that how they refer to? I can't remember how they refer to themselves. I know there was the convoy was mentioned several times, but is that how they refer to themselves?
I think they call themselves just the convoy.
The convoy,
I think. So obviously, what Granny Dread says is that she needs some medicine, and what they'll do in return is they'll upgrade his car again so that he's got some kind of defense. Obviously, if he's got to travel across the country and all these lawmen, holy men, and vultures are about, he's going to need some kind of weaponry on his car.
Yeah, they said they would they'd call exhibit in, and they could do Pimp My Ride, and it could be on the new series of that, pretty much.
Exactly, and you get a lovely, fancy one-time missile, which was a big old fucking missile. I won't lie.
Yes.
Because it's a plot device, of course.
Of course it is.
So
yeah, they want him
off.
to go and see the pharmacist, don't they?
Yes, they do. And the pharmacist has apparently used to run with them, but she got thrown out of the convoy while it was driving. And she apparently survived that, which I don't know how you would, but I'm not going to question it because continuity.
Depends speed, velocity, everything, uphill, downhill. Lots.
I suppose they can't be driving super fast in order to.
No, they've done 100 miles an hour, and the fucking corridor's like, oh, you're like.
But so they upgrade the car a little bit just so he's got some defense, and you see them drive off. Do they go to the cinema in this one?
Yeah. So, well. I
can't remember if it's the cinemas before.
Yeah, no.
After.
Episode 4. So this is obviously episode 4. Episode 4 is in this. So they obviously go off and they meet who they believe to be the pharmacist. She says her name's Amber. I felt we didn't have enough time with Amber, in my personal opinion, because I think Amber's a really nice, and I hope we see a little bit more of Amber in the future, because Amber seems this nice, cute, sweet, innocent lady. She's like, oh, you've been out in the hot sun all day. Once again, this is something that, and I'm picking up on this, like, people in this time are morons, is how I'm seeing it. So we picked it up on episode 1. Watching Neve Campbell, the head of like New San Francisco, I'm like, yep, she's an evil bitch in disguise. It's so fucking blatantly obvious. I watched this and Amber's like, oh, would you like some tea? And I'm like, don't fucking drink it, you absolute idiots. They drink it, they're sick, they pass out. I'm like, how have you fucking survived this long, people? Like,
because normally they're safe in their cars, TJ. They're safe in their cars, damn it.
I genuinely thought there's a bit where Quiet's just like, yeah, and grabs it and necks it.
She necks it off.
And John looks at her and gives her a look, and I'm like, he fucking knows. But then that idiot still takes a fucking drink. And then they're on the floor, paralysed, and, she
gets out a nettle, which she seemed savage.
Mate, it was like fucking poison ivy times 100. It like melted the fucking skin in his arm instantly. She's like a botanist of epic proportions. She's like poison ivy if poison ivy was a real person.
She is also our other character that used to be in what's called, and she's known as Flower Power.
Flower Power. Okay, not Amber. Amber's not a link.
Amber's a name, but obviously. Okay. In the video game, everyone's got so John Doe is the driver of the car Roadkill.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you more reflect to their car names.
Oh, okay.
So Sweet Tooth was always Sweet Tooth because it was a mystery, but you do find out that his name was M. Kane in the game. Again, you see like a little synopsis, like you got the car and then the person who drives it. And, it's a little
and obviously Sweet Tooth, he drives an ice cream truck. It kind of all makes sense, yeah?
Yes, exactly. Well, I mean, it will at some point because he's nuts.
Yeah. But yeah, and then Amber, Flower Power, believes that they are holy men, and obviously, what I loved was obviously the fact that when she turns around and says about they help her grow her plants, and you're like, what are you talking about? And then it pans around, and you see like a foot in a plant pot or like a hand over it, and it's like. Oh, okay.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, okay. Whatever.
He believes in recycling. They recycle on the convoy as well, don't they? They said about that.
Pretty much. They're like, how do you stop for refueling? It's like, we don't need to. We use every bit of waste, if you catch my drift. You got people shitting into fuel tanks or something, But, and yeah, when she realises that they're actually there from Granny, they're not holy men, she's like, oh, fucking hell, gives them the magic flower that brings them back, the paralysis leaves them.
That's it. Chew.
Yeah, chew on this. You're paralysed, but somehow still chew.
Well, she does work his mouth a little bit.
Yeah, but they come round and yeah, pretty much she gives the meds, the flowers, John. And
she does reference how that like it's got no medicinal.
Yeah, this stuff
qualities.
has no medicinal qualities, and there's a random flower. I don't know why she would want one of these, but that becomes later on. That's what I mean, and that was pretty much all we saw of Amber, other than a little like back and forth with what later on,
which is where you hear that her name's Flower Power because it was a call sign on the radio. And Karen.
Well, yeah, and I was just saying, and then they're back on the road, and it's the first real glimpse we get to. Like the we get to hear, we don't see, but you can hear the vast numbers. Like they get chased by what we believe to be holy men, and they rock into a mall. They pull the shutters down, but you can hear outside the sheer numbers of people.
Yeah.
So we believe it's another large faction or large-ish faction. And then obviously
they're on a pilgrimage, and that's why she thinks that they're holy men. If I remember correctly, they're all on a pilgrimage at the moment.
Yeah, and this is when we get into the area that I spoke to you before we started, and this kind of like bored me. This bit, I won't lie, because it was so cliched. There's a lot of cliches. There's like Hollywood is unoriginal, as we all know. They have to rewrite the same copybook over and over again, and this is no different. Like Quiet and John. Are in this mall, and he's like, they've got a movie theater. Look, I did like this little bit. They're in a movie theater, and he's like, they've got a classic film. And they put on Blank Man, which is a Marlon Wayans film. Is it Marlon? No, Marlon.
It is. I think it is Marlon or
one of the Wayans brothers.
One of them,
Marlon,
brothers.
Yeah. I think and but it's silent, so they do the voiceover for it, which I thought was quite good. But it's just the thing that bugs me is like in every film where you get like a male and a female lead. And there's obviously always going to be underlying sexual tension because there always fucking is. And like John, like they're talking and she'll be staring at the screen and there'll be that little look over and he has that little lingered glance. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there going,
will they?
I don't need this. Like, I don't care for this. Just as I said, my exact thing today was just go and bang her in the back of the car and get it over and done with. Like, none of this bullshit. And then there's another bit.
Speed this along.
And obviously, it can't be one-sided. You can't just have John looking at her. And there's a bit where she wakes up. John's not there. She goes to find him. He's washing their clothes. He's got his top off. She can only see him in the back. And she goes over. She looks at him. And there's the little dreamy look, and then the little snap too, like stop looking at him. You know,
you've seen it in a million TV shows.
I'm going to see it in a million things from now on. You know, it's just one of those things. It's I get it's a plot device, but it's so boring at this point, and it kind of
it's got to be a loving. Otherwise,
no, it doesn't. I don't care if they have sex. I just want to see people get murdered by
in the rule book
with rockets, and fuck off rule book. Like, we're in a post-apocalyptic... There's no fucking rule book. We've got geezer driving around a fucking ice cream truck trying to decapitate fools. Ain't a fucking rule book. Like, you ain't got time for sex. You're not allowed it. Just go and, like... Go to New Chicago and deliver your shit. Like, come on, hurry up.
Exactly. Get it done. Come on, hurry with it. So, essentially, they leave the cinema, but he has washed a coat that her brother owned, and now it would no longer smell of her brother, and she's
no longer have any brain matter of her brother on it.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Fucking now she's all upset because her final memory, which I guess that's bullshit
because it's like the very next conversation they have, she forgives him. It's like. Just like why did I even need why did that interaction need to happen? I looked at you, dreamy, because like you had your shirt off, like, and then all of a sudden, like I'm angry at you because you washed my brother's brain matter off my jacket, and now the next scene I'm good with you again. It's like fucking hell, like all this was bullshit. I don't come on.
So they just to get away from this before TJ loses his mind. They drive Evelyn back to the convoy. They go back inside. Obviously, you don't need to show us how they all connect again, but it's to give to Granny Dread because she's dying. She's not in a good way, and instead of trying to heal her, she's trying to go out on her own terms, which of course in a post-apocalyptic world is very, very rare. And you find out a little bit of backstory about Granny Dread. How she was a realtor in Boca Raton, and she was one of the top ones, and she's put all this together because she's very obviously a very smart lady, and now she wants to take just some tea, which will just ease her very comfortably into death in her Beamer, which I assume she had as a realtor.
Yeah,
it's and they send her off very nicely. They upgrade all the cars.
I like this. I liked her send off.
Yeah, she had a good send. To be fair, they had a good send off. So she dies in a car. She have to give in the sex book to Quiet.
The Granny
because-
Sutra.
Yeah, the Granny Sutra.
Love it. Love it.
You did all these while you were driving. um, and they basically they open the back doors and the car just gets pushed out into the middle of the road, and then they blow it up, which I thought was, for a post-apocalyptic world, there's no other way to do it. You can't just.
Well, you don't want anyone else to have that car. It's
No.
almost like the Viking send-off back in the day. You know, a couple of quarters on the eyeballs, put them on a raft, send them off, shoot an arrow, set them on fire. It's very much a modern Viking burial.
Yeah, it was, and then they have a party or a wake. Everyone gets on. Quiet forgives
John.
John Doe. But and that probably more or less brings us to the end. Except we do get the reveal that Miranda Watts has got a Formula 3 car. Do you remember seeing that?
Yeah. She was sitting in it.
Off?
Yeah, she was sitting in it talking to
Flower Power.
Flower Power. Yeah, to Amber, because obviously what you realise is the
They used to date.
They were in a relationship, and John mentions something to her, doesn't he, about life's too short, whatever. And it looks, whether we'll see them again or I don't know, but obviously they may team up and we may see them as a duo.
And you see that they sent those flowers, and she's got like a few of these flowers all in case.
They were obviously gifts, weren't they, from Amber to Watt over the years.
And that's where we hear Miranda Watts' call sign is called Twister. And Twister was, of course, the Formula 1 driver from Twister Metal, the video game. So that's how that's all interlinked with her and Flower Power, because Flower Power used to drive a Beetle, which, of course, you see her.
You see in her driveway, don't you? See it on her driveway.
So that just ties in just a couple of the little Easter eggs for those that actually played the game. And I think that brings us to the close of that episode, if I remember correctly.
And like I say, this one... Yeah,
it was a world.
It was a steady episode. I don't think it had as much as episode 3 did. Like episode 2, if you remember me saying, like episode 2 had that lull, but it picked up because it needed that lull. It had the Sweet Tooth lull where it was like, okay, yeah, and then all of a sudden it ramped up, like when they released Sweet Tooth into the world. Essentially, it was like fucking hell, like what's to come. This I just kind of like. I didn't like. It had some cool characters in it. It had like the convoy was wicked and stuff like that. But ultimately, as an episode, it fell a little bit more flat for me. And the bits that I didn't like, obviously, I've gone over them already.
He's hit it on the head with a hammer and then repeatedly hit it like Quiet did to that man's head.
Yeah, I just didn't see that there were like. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like. It's too much sometimes. It doesn't need to be there. Like it's filler that doesn't need to be there. The sexual tension between the two of them, does it need to? I don't know.
No,
I'll be saying by the end of this, it's the greatest love story I've ever seen. Not.
So that brings us to the next episode, which was Crossroads, or CRZSRWSRDS.
Episode 5.
And this shows us where Sweet Tooth is. Or whereabouts.
Yeah, because we've had a couple of episodes of no Sweet Tooth, and I quite like that we're not having him ramp like we had, or I at least had ideas of how this is going to play out, and are we going to see that Sweet Tooth? And it's kind of I thought we might get Sweet Tooth is ahead of them, and so the carnage that Sweet Tooth does. Well, no, so it would be like a John Doe, Sweet Tooth, the lawmen. So the lawmen would think that the carnage that Sweet Tooth does is actually John Doe, whereas but it's actually worked out differently, where it's like the lawmen, John Doe, and then Sweet Tooth are behind.
Well, you see, when I first saw the first trailer, I assumed that Sweet Tooth would be our main villain.
No.
But obviously they shoveled that quite quickly in episode 2, didn't they? Because you find out a little bit about how
he is a wicked plot device to bring in and just fucking fuck shit up.
Yeah. And it shows in this episode. I thought this episode was gory.
Yeah.
It was gory, but I think
a great episode
good.
Because I think the character development done in this episode far outweighed a lot of the character development done in every other episode.
Yes. Because you find out, obviously, in this, Sweet Tooth rocks up to the Hoover Dam.
Well. We need to rewind back. The episode starts with John and Quiet literally 3 miles outside Topeka. Now, Topeka, remember,
That's
is
right,
where the
yes.
headquarters is Stone is. Quiet has sold John on the lie that Topeka is where this sanctuary is. She hasn't told him the real reason. We also found out right at the air, was it at the start of this episode or the end of the last episode, that she has actually smuggled some of Amber's paralytic plant. And they pull over, they find a car that's turned over.
It starts with they must have had something stolen.
Yes, CDs.
They find Hanson.
Yeah, they find CDs, and they have a little back and forth about Hanson. He's never heard of Hanson. She's obviously heard of Hanson. A little bit embarrassed that she knows and likes Hanson. I mean, who isn't? Yeah. I'm embarrassed that I know and like Hanson.
Shall I keep it? No.
But don't. No. I mean, maybe. Yeah. No. I'll throw it away. No. Don't throw it away because you never know. Guilty Hanson, but guilty pleasure. You're not going to lie. And so. And ultimately, they have a couple of drinks while they're just outside, because John's adamant he's going to come with her to Topeka, and then he'll find out the lie. So she drugs him, and he passes out. And I thought she was going to steal the car, but she doesn't.
I thought that
she just walks off, which kudos to her. I think that shows her character development in that she actually does care for John, so she doesn't want to leave. Although I thought if you did care about him, why would you leave him? Like, at least put him in the fucking car and lock the car. Don't just leave him out cold on the fucking floor, woman.
Well,
for reasons of why, you know. But then it rocks. Then it rocks onto Sweet Tooth turning up at the dam, and from the moment he rocks up at the dam, the blood is spilled.
I actually felt sorry for that poor guard because he
hadn't got a clue what the fuck rocked up at his door. Wow.
The size difference between Sweet Tooth and that guard. I was like, oh,
small little
shit.
guard, and then fucking. Like giant Sweet Tooth comes out, and just the way he abusively shoves a grenade into his mouth. Oh wow! It was like he violated him 6 ways from Sunday with that grenade in his mouth. It was like, wow.
Oh dear. They don't shy away from what happens when that grenade goes off either, do they?
No. Although,
they do not shy away.
I thought it took the head clean off, but where's the damage to the shoulders and everything? I thought it would have been a little bit more damage, but I'm not complaining,
I think the point got across, TJ, being his head just became matter on the back wall. Yeah. You also catch up with Stu and see what Stu's fate has become. He's walking the red line.
Yeah, unfortunately, because obviously he got left behind, didn't he? Because he got knocked out by the boot of Evelyn, and then obviously they realised he was the traitor that helped them escape. So he's done for.
Yes,
so we think
our poor Stu is all bad for him, all bad. Anyway, we cut back and we see that Quiet is living up to her name, has very quietly managed to sneak into the back of a police car, and she's watching a little bit of back and forth between these two officers before she inevitably is going to probably kill them. Meanwhile, I mean, it sort of jumps around a little bit here.
Yeah.
I think we cut back then to
John being passed out. No, John being passed out. John passed out, and then a guy with the worst toenails I've ever seen in human history,
and likes to grease himself with with vegetable oil.
Yeah, like
grease himself up nicely.
I mean, if we want to skip past that, we skip past that because that guy, a little bit wrong.
He's wearing a very, very interesting thong, shall we say?
Yeah, and that's all he's fucking wearing.
Yeah. That is all he's wearing.
But John manages to get away from him, thankfully.
He does. Don't worry about it. They have a little. Well, I mean, just a hint on a bit. You do see that Quiet and John have a little bit of a throwing competition with axes and knives, and turns out that John can't throw a knife very well.
For shit.
At all. Yes, I agree. Especially when she does that one without looking. I was like, come on.
Yes, the no look. Yeah.
But just skipping past that a bit, obviously we go back to the Hoover Dam, and while we're watching what we inevitably assume to be Stu's fate, it suddenly turns out that Sweet Tooth has got a very, 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 very large machete.
Yeah.
Very large. And just proceeds to annihilate every cop in there.
Dismemberment to the max.
They do not give a shit. I would have applauded when he managed to cut that cop's head off and catch it, by the way. I'd have gone, yep. I mean, You don't see that every day.
No. It's almost like he's done it before, Jay.
Yes, it is almost like he's done it before. So he frees all the prisoners in there because obviously they've applauded him, and obviously, as we know,
he
Sweet
wants an
Tooth is
audience.
after an audience. Yeah. So, and he then sort of attaches a little bit onto our Stu, doesn't he?
Well, they're all walking out. Stu's trailing behind. Stu gets there seems to be like one guard left, and Sweet Tooth saves Stu from being murdered. And they have a back and forth, and they're both larger guys, and they bond on that. And I love the thing of like, oh, you look like you want so Stu's there with his eyes closed, almost like crying because he thinks he's going to die. Then he gets covered in blood, and it's in his mouth and everything.
Yeah,
and, and then obviously the would you like a hand? And the minute you see the hand on screen, I'm like, that's not Sweet Tooth's hand. And then, but the this is where I love Sweet Tooth, because like with Will Arnett's inflection on stuff, it's fucking brilliant. He opens his eyes, takes the hand, and he goes, "This is my one. You can't have this one." And it's a severed hand and arm. And then he just tucks. He's like, "Hold my knife," and he tucks it inside, like where he's wearing this strap thing here. He just tucks it inside it, and it's just flapping around in here as he wanders around, and he just loads a few weapons in. And this it's Sweet Tooth's great. He's
he really is
as a plot device. He's the best thing in the series, in my opinion.
He really, really is. I mean, he's always been like the head of the games as well. So I totally understand now. You've got to use him. You've got to utilize him well.
But they don't overutilize him.
No, they don't.
With
they
5
don't
episodes in,
with it.
and we've seen twice essentially.
That's it. And each time he's been pretty interesting, to be honest.
But his development, like I say, his development at the start, episode 2, like he's like, oh, he's a fucking nutter, he's going to kill John, blah blah blah, and then he's like, no, he's an onion, he's got fucking a lot of layers. He's still a psycho nut job, but he's got layers. And then he's unleashed to the world, and now he's like kind of like you say, he's made friends with Stu. They bounce, and Stu's very much like always been this sheepish, I can't kill, and he like Sweet Tooth understands this, doesn't he? He understands, and he sees the softer side of Stu. And they have this yin and yang type of thing going on between them.
My name begins with S. Your name begins with S.
Well, they're polar opposites, but they're drawn, aren't they?
They are.
And this is what I mean. I think Stu's going to become because I think Stu's going to have some really pivotal moments later on, potentially, where we might see some psychotic Stu, because he does turn around and he's like, do you want to join me? And Stu joins him. And he gets the map out and he goes, if you want to fuck up some more guards, I know where you can go to fuck up some more guards.
He shows him all the routes and where all the checkpoints are. Obviously, what Sweet Tooth also gets from it is obviously all the people he saved are now Sweet Tooth's followers.
It's like he's building an army.
Yeah, he's building a small army out of people that have been wronged by the lawman.
I did. So I just think I did also like when Stu gets in his truck. It's like, no, you ride bitch, because his friend. And see, it's a bag, not a rock. It's a bag. His best friend, who is a brown paper bag, is riding shotgun, and Stu, you've got to ride bitch. That was fucking great. That was great.
Oh, that was because it just shows the pure insanity of
his best friend,
Sweet Tooth.
But bearing in mind that the brown paper bag had a seatbelt round it and it didn't crumple, there's something in the bag. So we don't know what it is, but there's something in the bag. I'd like to know. I'm hoping it's a shrunken head, but I don't know.
Yeah. Probably
or a pair of balls or something, a pair of testicles or something, I don't know.
So we just to quickly clear up what happened to John. So John has been caught by a very, very strange, half-naked, very, very, well, almost totally naked man, who they get into a bit of a tumble when John pretends to be dead, and it looks like this man is going to have his way with him.
Deliverance him.
Yes, have his way with this corpse, because he's got the other corpse as well with him. He's got the vulture corpse, and it looks like this man's greasing himself up for a right old good time. John, meanwhile, while looking past out, tries to steal his knife. We then see him fail miserably at throwing the knife at the man. The man picks up the knife and sequentially, after being tackled by John, stabs himself in the eye, and that's that we've dealt with.
Nice little quick, moving on.
That's it. He gets back in Evelyn and he's on his way, because he reads a note, doesn't he? He gets a note from
Quiet, Quiet, of why she's done what she's done, essentially.
Like, what she's really going to go and do. because she wants to go and kill, obviously, Agent Stone because of what she can't forgive what's happened to her brother, and she can't move past it.
Yeah.
Which so she's gone to Topeka.
Topeka.
She's gone to Topeka to go and deal with that. Now you see Topeka, and Topeka's very much like a suburban lovely land, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, you can't really argue.
But then there's fucking statues of stone, and he is like seen as like the god almost. Well, not the god, but the ruler almost. And you realise just how deluded, like when you see the statue and what it says, you realise how deluded his followers actually are. And it kind of. Now, obviously, she's obviously floating. Now, while she's driving around Topeka, she's speaking to her brother. She's having visions of her brother. She's having full-blown conversations with her brother. And bearing in mind, at this point, also what we've seen is John is faced with a choice. Does he go to Topeka or does he drive to Chicago? We actually see him take the Chicago turnoff.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, John's fucked off, But Quiet is in Topeka. She's driving around. She's having this inner monologue with her brother. And he's pretty much like, why, you don't need to do this.
You don't need to do this. It's not.
Now Stone, like she runs a cropper because she gets caught by one of the other guards. She's staring at a statue. Another guard comes along, recognizes her, reports through. So Stone knows she's there. Stone then tells his guards, "You leave her to me."
Yeah, he's going to do it her himself.
Just as she's making the decision that she's like, this ain't worth it, actually, I'm going to let it go.
I'm going to leave.
He comes across the radio saying, no, we've got you cornered. I'll set my men to fuck you up if you don't come and meet me.
So it's one-on-one.
Yeah, which is one-on-one.
Now, this actually, for me, obviously calls back to what the video game is more about, because it's vehicular combat that you see, where two cars are actually going at each other, like we saw in the first episode, where cars are chasing down John and they sort of head to head each other. Yeah.
It's quite that's a quite good thing, isn't it? Like episode 1 and then like starts as that, and then the exact midpoint halfway through the end of episode 5 is this is that again. It's a nice little drawback.
Again, it's not hammering because when we spoke about this before we watched it, me and TJ, we were going like, well, is it going to be like Mad Max? Are we going to just see loads and loads of vehicles? What's the story going to be? How are you going to build a story about a video game where basically it was a tournament of cars trying to kill each other? So I think what they've done, it's very cliched story, but I have enjoyed the fact that they've built some story. I like the idea of the milkman. I like the sort of world building that they've created, because obviously it's the end of the world. It is very Mad Max in like there's factions that are all dealing with things differently. There's inner boxed cities, so on and so forth. I think that the city in Topeka is actually one of the maps that you play on. I'm not sure about the fairground area, because they go to a fairground, don't they? And he talks about himself.
That's like his home almost, essentially. Isn't it?
He used to go there every weekend, and he got
his first pickle tickle there, didn't he?
That's it. He got his first pickle tickle on the Ferris wheel, as it goes. Whether he was tickling his own pickle, I don't know.
Probably is a bit of a dickhead.
He is a bit of a knob, so I have to assume that he just jerked it on the Ferris wheel. He likes jugs, as previously referenced by his past. Anyway, just to swiftly move towards that, obviously she thinks she's got him in a police car and starts firing all her guns towards him, and of course he pops out the corner in a heavily armored car, shall we say? Yeah,
he's very much astute. Like he's done this shit before. She's like, this isn't his first rodeo, where it is definitely hers, because she makes some critical errors in her decision making here, and he's one step ahead of her at all times. And it's clear to see that he's adept at this kind of warfare, whereas she is not.
And he's got grenade launchers, and she's got basically one automatic gun on her car, which is a police cruiser. And obviously he's got this fully armoured thing, so even in a straight fight, shall we say, then he would definitely have the upper hand.
It did have the one stupid Hollywood thing in it, where so he fires a rocket. As he fires a rocket, she almost gives it some e-brake, bit of handbrake, turns it. The two back windows just happen to be down, and the rocket flies through the car as she's going sideways, and it's slow-mo, and she looks back, and it's like...
It's straight through the windows.
You're like, that, like, even if it was like, no, that, yeah, nah.
No, no, I'm afraid no. That's not how those things go, I'm afraid. So we're just gonna have to let that go and put it down to cliche horror Hollywood nonsense.
But
and of course, then we get
moving on.
another cliche Hollywood nonsense a little bit.
Well,
don't we?
he pretty much flips
Takes
her
her
car,
out.
takes her out. And it's like I said to you before we watched it. It's like I knew at the moment that her car flipped. It was like I know exactly what's coming because it was so obvious. Like he rocks up on her, he's heading straight towards her, firing his two guns, bam, 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 bam. And like you've seen it, you know, like when someone stands there and like being chased by a helicopter or whatever, and you get the two perfect lines of bullets go as they're going down to someone. It's like you know, it's in every action film you've ever seen where someone's firing something at someone, and just at that moment, da 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 da, like White Knight John. Fucking the one rocket. Remember, he was only given one rocket, begrudgingly given one rocket. By the convoy. He just happens to nail out of nowhere.
Absolutely
apparently nails Stone's vehicle. Now we don't see Stone as being dead. We see the rocket hit it, his car flips, goes fucking off into the distance. Like, Stone can't be dead. Episode 5, you can't kill such a major plot character.
Just remember, kids, TV, unless you see them physically die,
they're not dead. Even if you do see them dead, magic happens, and they're like, oh no, they accidentally were asleep and we didn't realise. Their brain wasn't open and blood and brain was out. They were fine.
Bulletproof, it turns out. So when you saw those 17 bullets hit him, he's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine.
And then obviously, we realise just like Quiet is very seriously injured. And John is all in a panic. And he takes her, puts him in the car, and drives off to where we're probably going to find someone that's going to heal her now. Maybe he takes her back to Amber. Maybe.
Yeah, potentially. Maybe. We don't know what's going to happen because that sort of draws us to the end
of episode 5.
Of episode 5,
which is the halfway point.
Yes, it is halfway
5 episodes
through.
in. It's a 10-episode series. We're halfway through.
We'll probably cover another 3 episodes next week.
Yep. I just wanted to say on this episode though, like this series, like I'm enjoying this series, but this series is definitely more up and down. Whereas I felt like The Last of Us was pretty much like steadily good, very few little dips, but then the peaks massively outweighed. This, I'm like finding episodes as we go, like each episode taken on its own. Not looking at it as in its entirety. Looking like this episode was really strong, and it was strong because of Sweet Tooth, the whole thing, like his character building, very, very strong, very visceral episode, as we know. Like the cinematography was so well done. The interactions between the characters, I thought, played off really, really well and strong.
Will Arnett is slaying the voice lines,
and Samoa Joe is brilliant as you know with the bodily actions and everything. Even that little bit, there's a scene where you see Stu and Samoa Joe just walking down the corridor, and he's doing a little shuffle as he's walking down the corridor, a little dance, and it's just like something that you just pick up on, these little nuanced things that he's doing, and it's like so really well done. And I feel that
I'll be honest, I think because you think Samoa Joe's a wrestler, and you think, all right, Will Arnett's definitely going to nail the voice lines.
Yeah,
but how can you make anyone give a shit about a psychotic man who wears a clown mask?
He's like. He's my favourite character by a country mile. Like, I wouldn't care if he cut John Doe's head off and the series was just about him. Like, let's be honest. I wonder if we're going to get a Sweet Tooth spin-off. I think, unless they kill him off, I think we will. Because I feel that he's going to be the one that comes out of this with the strongest fan reaction to. I haven't read any things. I thought, like, because there's all 10 episodes, like, I think, didn't we agree we're going to wait till pretty much we've seen it all?
We'll watch until we've seen it.
And then we'll read the reviews, because otherwise, people are going to put spoilers in stuff to go past where we're already at. But yeah, like I say, episode 5, strong episode, probably my favourite episode so far.
It made me looking forward to what we're going to see in the last 5. Obviously, we're at Topeka, so there's not that much further to go to.
Well, he said 500 and whatever.
30 miles.
Yeah, 500 whatever. Yeah, miles to Chicago. So
There's a bit of road.
He's got to make it there and back. Don't forget.
Yeah.
We haven't yet. Like he picked up one thing that I thought was really well done. Actually, continuity is key. Remember, and I said earlier, obviously they stripped him of like their watches. Like he's watching it now. In episode 1, he sets his watch timer to 10 days. Yeah. Obviously, he's like nice little Casio watch that he's got. You actually you see him when he gets his car keys. He actually remembers to pick up his watch. Yes, now, he doesn't address the watch, doesn't look how much time is left. We never see that I can remember unless I missed it. No. You don't see him look at his watch. But just, I liked that little bit. Where I'm a stickler for like those continuity things, and that sticks it really nice. Because if he didn't have his watch, if they didn't show him picking up his watch, I would be the kind of arsehole that picks up on it and just goes like, episode 6, and he goes his watch. I was like, well, where did he get his fucking watch from? You know, so I do like those little bits. They miss on a few, but they pick up on some of the other, which is nice.
I mean, I will say you can definitely feel in this episode a lot of the Zombieland. Yeah, you feel a lot of the Zombieland in this, and you definitely get some of the comedy that you'd expect from the Deadpool, and I think that's where Will Arnett and Samoa Joe are very much getting that sort of. I can play with this. I can play with this character. I
think going forward now, obviously, I think we need. I think the way it's going to play is we're going to have a couple of episodes where we see very, very little of. He's going to be more moving towards Chicago. I think we'll see less of Stone. I don't think Stone will be a major plot device. Pardon me, sorry. In the next 2 episodes, because I think the plot devices will obviously be the Holy Men.
Yeah.
And
maybe see more of them.
Maybe another fact. Well, we haven't even seen anything essentially. No. We've just heard about them. So the Holy Men.
We saw that one milkman upside down.
Yeah. So we're going to obviously find out them as a faction, and then obviously whatever. We need to still find out. I worry. Like I don't worry because I think it's the way it's need to go. But I'm thinking to myself, we're not going to get the conclusion of this. We're not going to get him draw whatever he's got to get from Chicago. I think it ends. I think I said this last week. I think it's going to end with whatever happens in Chicago. I don't think we're going to see him get back to San Francisco and be like, "Fuck you, Neve Campbell," or whatever, or like and like that starts. I think season 2 is going. I think he's going to get to Chicago, have whatever. Maybe Calypso's there, maybe not. I don't know, but I feel that they're definitely going to. They will have played this to get a second season, so I don't think we're going to get his entire journey there and back in this. So 5 episodes. I think they've spaced it out quite well in time is what I'm trying to get to. Like, because now in the next 5 episodes, if you get him from 500 miles from Chicago to Chicago, whatever's got to happen in Chicago, and then get back to San Francisco and fill in Sweet Tooth and fill in all these other things, it seems like they're going to rush the fuck out of it. So, it would seem that they would have to get it done, but I don't feel they're going to do it. I think they've paced it well so far, and I definitely think we'll get a season 2 just after watching the first 5 episodes.
It's getting. I will say I haven't read the reviews, but it is been received very well by the internet, and we all know the internet hate everything. Yeah. So for this, which I'll be the first to tell you, and I know TJ agreed, and we sort of said like, I don't know how well this is going to do because it's not something that I would have picked as a video game adaptation, but they are doing something with it now. Yes, it's peaks and troughs, but the peaks are really up there for me. And the troughs are, the troughs are middling. They're not bottom.
It works for me because it's a 30-minute episode. If this was an hour episode, like, I would have got bored.
Yes, I can see that.
The last episode 4, when I felt it was a little bit more flat, I think that if I had to sit there and watch another 30 minutes around that, if they had to fill out that episode for an hour, I would have been bored, and I would have been like staring at the fucking ceiling or something, looking at my phone or doing something. So I like the fact that it's like 28 minutes, 30-minute episodes.
I think like what they're doing is they're sort of trudging along in this. It's sort of a road movie, isn't it? Well, road TV series. Yeah. So they're filling out the right bits. You're giving you a little bit of backstory on some people, a little bit of I suppose you've got to do the weird love interest bullshit that everyone has to do. But you are getting like you are consistently moving down the road. Like, so they're not just stopping and then going, oh, we've got to deal with this whole, fucking villain of the week thing. which you're still consistently going down the plot. It's what I always used to hate about 24 episode TV shows.
Yeah,
because especially things that
filler.
have been hour long, and you just be like, oh my god, I don't care. I just want to know what the main story is and how we get there. And we just seem to be like, oh, let's just chop this bit and let's show you this that I'm not interested in and nobody else is interested in. But we've got 24 episodes, so we've got to do something. Yeah. And then it becomes villain of the week, and then remember they used to go through that phase of like you do villain of the week, and then the last 2 minutes of the episode would be like, don't forget, there's still the nuclear bomb going off.
The story, the underlying story that's running through the whole season.
Yeah.
That has its peak around episode 12. Yeah. And then it has its conclusion at episode 24.
Yeah. I ain't got enough life to lose a whole day.
I love TV show. So Arrow did it, Flash did it, and I very much the first few seasons of that I was all into. But I just it got tired. I think I left Arrow after about season 5 and whatever season they were on with the Flash, just because it was like. Oh, because it became Arrow was 24, but then you had to watch Arrow and Flash, so it becomes 48 episodes. Because
and then you get a crossover episode.
Well, that's the thing; they did crossovers, so you can't just watch all of Arrow and then watch all of Flash because you didn't understand the crossovers, and the crossovers gave you plot devices that were in the other season and stuff. So you had to watch them 1 on 1, 2 and 2, 3 and 3. And it just become like fucking hell. I'm giving up like 40 odd hours.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's too much.
And then they threw Legends of Tomorrow in there. Legends of Tomorrow?
Yeah, Legends. Yeah, with Brendan Roth and Dominic Purcell.
And I didn't mind that, but again, like now I've got 3 TV series I've got to watch to make the crossover make sense. Come on, guys, man, what are we doing here?
It's too much. I do look at stuff now, and if it goes into like 24 episodes, I'm like, I like 10 to 13 episodes. If they're an hour long, 10 to 13 episodes. I mean, if they're half hour, then that's even better. But like, even to the point where certain things like their episodes would start peaking at an hour, and like Stranger Things did it a little bit. It was like, oh, this episode is an hour and 40 minutes. You're like, what? Huh?
Yeah, I didn't mind so much with Stranger Things because I enjoyed Stranger Things.
And it's 10 episodes, so you're like, oh, okay, at least they're not doing this with every episode. But like, what streaming has actually done, you realise, is it's taken the like existential thing of like, you were on a TV, you're on a network TV show. They have allotted time for everything, so your series has to fall in. What was it, about 24 minutes? If it's a half-hour show because they've got adverts. If it's an hour show, it's 44 minutes or whatever.
40-something minutes,
Because and you're going to be on every week between 9 and 10, whatever. Yeah. With streaming, they can just go, well, none of those rules applies to us. So if I want to make an hour-long I can make it an hour. Or I can make it 45 minutes, or I can make it an hour and 40 minutes. The rules,
37 minutes.
The rules do not apply, and I suppose it's a good thing, because like it means the episodes. In theory, you should get less filler on stuff that's on streaming. You should get less filler because they don't need to fill out that time. They've been allotted by the studio 24 episodes, an hour long, 45. So they're like, we've got to fill this. Streaming, they can go, well, no, let's make it 16 episodes and just cut out a load of filler. And if we need a 40-minute episode here, we'll do that. If we need an hour episode, we'll do that here. So it's it's moved on quite nicely in that regard. But like I say, when I did see an hour and 40 minutes for a Stranger Things episode, I was like, really? But it was good, so I let it off.
Exactly. I mean, the last episode being almost 2 hours or something.
Yeah, but
I mean, don't get me wrong. I suppose you needed it, and you needed that sort of climactic film ending for Stranger Things. So I sort of forgive it a little bit. Yeah. TJ, can you vamp for just 2 minutes? I need to go and wait. I've been
no worries, dude. No worries, dude. No worries. But the one thing I will say though, with streaming, and I know we've touched on this before, like when we did a previous episode on streaming services and stuff. I'm very much like Twisted Metal. The whole season has been released, episodes 1 to 10. It's great. Like, and the last one we done was The Last of Us. Obviously, that was serialized for HBO for Sky Atlantic, so it was 1 episode a week, and that's quite nice as well. 1 episode a week. You can watch it steady. Sometimes, we're in a generation now where it's like give me everything all at once. But sometimes it's nice to have something spaced out like that, because the thing I found with like Stranger Things is like, you can get Stranger Things done in a weekend, like 10 episodes, bam. And with stuff like Stranger Things now, because it's on that certain level in the future where everyone's doing other things, it's like, oh, you've crammed the 10 episodes in 2 days. Well done. You've now got 2.5 years to wait till the next series, the next season.
That's kicking the dick. That was such a kick in the dick.
Yeah, what I was just saying was obviously like one thing with the streaming stuff, talking about a negative in a sense is with them throwing everything all at once. You watch it in the weekend. It's done.
Yeah.
It's gone as quickly as it arrived in terms of like, you've seen it, and now you have to wait an exorbitant amount of time. Whereas at least the one thing with the 24 episode stuff is the 24 episode stuff was pretty much released, and while you're still watching it, they're filming the next series, so it's like a year in between. So you're like,
I will say that I thought Last of Us did that very, very well.
I mentioned that as
even
well.
Though
I like the weekly. That.
because it's the water cooler moment, isn't it? It's the water cooler moment at work where you go. Everyone's watched it because it's come out this week, and it's the big thing. Yeah. I mean, thankfully, how many episodes was that? 10, 12?
10 or 10, 12, something like that.
Something like that. So it was exciting for us as podcasters because we were like, oh, we get to watch this episode, and then we're going to go and talk about it in the water cooler sort of section where we'd be going, well, this bit was really, really good, and like now I'm looking forward to what the next point is. Yeah, pardon me. With this, I mean, to be fair, we've staged this out ourselves because, you know, yes, by all means, me and TJ could have sat down one Saturday and just completely smashed all 10 episodes of this. But I worry that the problem with that is that you would miss a lot.
We would be talking about episodes 7, 8, and 9 so much more than we would do 1, 2, and 3. Like the middle section would get completely lost. Sorry, we'd be talking about 1, 2, and 3, and 7, 8, and 9 more than we would do 4, 5, and 6. Sorry, that's what I meant. Because you would talk about how it started, we'd talk about how it ended. The middle would get completely lost. But also, we can't do a weekly thing on something that's out because our 10 weeks, it's forgotten about. You know, we're talking about something that came out. So obviously, we're trying to, like, we did 2 episodes. We're going to do 2 episodes. We did 2 episodes for the start, 3 episodes now, 3 episodes next week, and then 2 episodes to finish the season.
Because with the 2 episodes at the end, we can then do our big final thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
On the reviews.
On the season as a whole. And normally, the climax is the biggest part of the whole series. So, you know, we probably need to talk a bit more in depth about, and also where we think the season will then go, even though we've periodically mentioned our thoughts about where it could potentially go for the future.
Exactly. So, you know, just to keep everyone sort of in, I hope you're watching along with us. For those that have watched all of it, you might go, you pair were both barking up the complete wrong tree.
Maybe. But then it'd be interesting because if you have watched it all and you've come in and listened to us and we've put a couple of thoughts in here like you're so wrong, it'd be nice for you to come back and then find out our thoughts about how it actually fully turned out and see our reaction to that. So
I will ask though that if you have watched it all and you know that we're wrong or we're right or whatever, I normally say put comments below, but please don't put
save us the spoilers if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
So, because we do read all, obviously we read all all and any comments that we get, and we do try and respond if we can, if we've got something witty to say. So do try and be spoiler free just for everybody else, because obviously I don't mind once we've got to episode 10 and we're talking about the end, put whatever you want in your thoughts about season 2, yada 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 yada.
Yeah.
If you just want to call me an idiot, that's fine. You can put that down there.
Don't call me an idiot.
TJ calls me an idiot all the time.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. You'll hurt TJ's delicate, fragile ego.
It's made of glass, mate. It's made of glass.
It is. So I think that takes us to the end of our discussion about that, which is everything to be. So next week, as previously mentioned, we will be doing episodes 6, 7, and 8.
Yep.
Is that right? 6, 7?
Yeah, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
And then it leaves us 9, 10 to do in the last week. We've got our event coming up soon, haven't we, mate? So we're trying to get all this wrapped up before we do our event.
Yes. I arranged a meet up with my community, my Twitch community, and so there's a large group of us descending on a city in the UK. They ain't gonna know what hit 'em, are they, dude?
Sadly, we're not going to try and do a podcast because it'd be just more of me from last week going. Anyway, so we're on Ridley Snot.
We've gone from Ridley Squat to Snot. Yeah, definitely.
So we will be taking that week off, kids. But don't get me wrong, you can contact us at all the usual places. Obviously, you can find me at Firefly Zero on Twitter and all that other jazz. TJ's the proper TJ on all that jazz.
Yep.
Do try and join us because I will be joining TJ, of course, on Tuesday for the PTB. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, not the PCB, the Police
PCB?
Constable Barry. that's a Twitter joke.
Our control
Twitch
board
joke,
from my work.
Yeah. No, we So obviously, I normally stream on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 8:30 on a Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. on a Friday. But the PTB is Tuesday. I can't wait a whole day and not play the PTB. So yeah, we're streaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Massively looking forward to get my hands on the Xenomorph and also to run around as Ellen Ripley on the Nostromo. One little thing that I did that we forgot to mention, I forgot to mention on the trailer, Jonesy. You see a little clip of Jonesy. Now, in the DBD community, there is a horse called Maurice, and he's like the mascot of DBD. He's a three-eyed horse. And it now looks like we might be getting our secondary mascot, Jonesy. There has been rumours. A former employee of Behaviour who worked on graphical stuff for the games would not confirm or deny if Jonesy was in when someone questioned her, but she did turn around and say that there are some very interesting things strolling around the Nostromo.
Do you think, just going back onto the alien conversation, do you think that it would be a perk for Ripley having Jonesy?
No, because I don't think to have it as a perk, it means obviously perks are once you unlock them, they're transferable, and also it means that they've got to be utilised on every single map. So you'd have Jonesy. Maurice doesn't appear on every map. She's on one map, Father Campbell's Chapel. So Jonesy will be exclusive to the Nostromo. But I like questions that got thrown at this developer was like, will Jonesy be walking around the map? Will they be static? Because Maurice is static static, but in one area, moves like head and everything, but is static in that area. Will Jonesy be walking around? Or is Jonesy going to interact and maybe hiss at the killer because at the Xenomorph or any other killer as they walk around? Because that does happen in the film, and there is a thing called booping the snoot in DBD.
Yes.
Because the pig from Saw is a playable killer, there is a thing where the pig crouches and you as a survivor can crouch and you do a point. They never wanted the game to have comms. Like they never did proximity chat, and they're not a massively fan of people going on Discord and having comms, but you can't stop that. But they have gestures in the game, which is like come here, and a point, and the point is utilised as a boop. It's called booping the snoot on the pig. So you walk up, you crouch down to the pig, and you boop the snoot. And people go and they use it as a pet for Maurice. They go over and they pet Maurice, even though you're technically poking him in his third eye. And people were like, "Are we going to get like you go over to Jonesy, you can pet Jonesy?" And like people are possibly thinking that maybe Jonesy will purr or like say a hiss at the killer and stuff. So I hope Jonesy's in because I see it as a misstep using them in the trailer and then not having them wandering the Nostromo, but we'll see. Tuesday, we'll find out Tuesday.
Just to bring it back to Twisted Metal, in that last episode, in episode 5, you actually see Sweet Tooth boop the snoot.
Yes,
when he saves
Stu's snoot. Yeah.
Which I thought was quite funny. I thought, I'll have to talk to you about that. Then completely forgot until you just mentioned it. So that's how it is. That's how it is, kids. Right, I think that brings us to the end, if I'm not correct, unless you've got any other business to
I don't think so. I don't know. I think we're all good. I think we covered all our bases. We covered some interesting banana-related entertainment news.
We
And,
did. We will follow up those facts and those allegations.
And I'm just going to say, obviously, everything in this podcast is allegedly. Don't sue me, Lizzo.
You've got loads of money.
I'm poor as shit, so I don't know what you'd sue me for.
Right, so kids,
you can have a pop vinyl if you want, Lizzo. That's about all I fucking got.
I bet she's got her own pop vinyl. If they made one big enough. I'm not going to. No, that's a bad joke. I couldn't help it. I couldn't control it.
We almost got 2 hours, 9 minutes in. We nearly made it. We may not be here next week, people. We may be maybe in
Sued
court.
into the ground. Sued into the ground, into the very, very foundations.
Oh dear.
Right. So that has been Opinions of the Uninformed for this week. I've been Firefly Zero or Jay, and I've been joined, of course, by wonderful
the proper TJ or TJ.
So don't forget to try and find TJ over on Twitch on Tuesday.
Link will be in the description below how to get to my Twitch channel.
That's it, and you can possibly catch me and TJ talking shit to each other over there as well.
Yeah.
So, right, kids, that's been us. See you later, kids.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. Taking that crown from you. I ain't worried about you, I ain't never. So let me break it all down.